our new bi-weekly D&D game that is going to come out every other Tuesday from now on. Unfortunately, due to some technical issues, we were not able to stream our first session, but we are recording it, and it's going to go up on YouTube at some point in the future. First things first, I think we should go around the table and name ourselves. I'm Peter. Sorry, I'm invoking some Fae shit here. Give me your names.
Oh no, you said name ourselves. I get to pick a new one.
You can pick whatever one you want. Just pick a different one every episode. I'm Peter. My pronouns are he, him. And I will be the first DM in this game where we will be rotating DMs out through each arc.
Hi, my name is Grace, and my pronouns are she, her.
I'm Roderick. I am he, him, and also very distracted at the moment.
I'm Gwen, they, them.
I'm Mercury. I'm a confusion. I'm whatever pronoun is funniest. Not even funniest, just whatever pronoun suits at the time.
So, do we have anything else that we need to cover? Other than...
What are key points?
Oh my god.
You'll figure them out as we go along.
Alright.
Or you'll roll a new character quickly. And with that, we're going to enter the world of Tumarta, descending down into the Ungamak Ridge, the mountains, inside, well, just inside the kingdom of Venaria.
Depending who you ask.
Depending on who you ask. Mm-hmm. To the small town of Reinhold Heights. Although, don't let the locals hear you call it that, or you will not hear the end of it. If you're from there, you would call it Rhyme. We come down to 4 individuals who've been shoved at a table together in the small inn of Windbreak in the middle of winter, as all of our characters are snowed in a small town up in the heights in Rhine, in the mountains, in winter. There's about 4 feet of fresh snow outside, and nobody has a lot that they can really do. So our intrepid adventurers are bored and looking for something to do. Honey, what are you doing right now?
First of all, thanks for putting me on the spot.
You're welcome.
Do you want to describe yourself as well?
Oh, that's not
Yeah,
a bad
yeah,
idea.
so
Okay,
yeah.
Honey is, well, you can't tell right now because she's sitting down, but when she stands, she's a very tall woman with, like her name, honey blonde hair that hangs down to her butt. It's wavy and sort of curls at the very, very end. She has striking, bright blue eyes. She's got that kind of like all-American cheerleader kind of look about her, like heart-shaped face, big smile, blue eyes, blonde hair. And if it weren't for her height, which is very tall, she's 6 foot, so kind of intimidating, you might be inclined to be like, well, she's just a pretty face, what can she do? She is wearing like a long blue coat. Otherwise her clothing is just in shades of blue and gray, and there's some little bits of gold here and there. And she is sitting, like I said, she's got that place in the bar, like she made a point to be in the seat where she can see as much of the bar as possible, and she's kind of just like looking at all the people and sipping on her drink, and Honey likes watching people. She's a people watcher, so that's
Okay.
what Honey's doing. What are you doing?
Oh, well, so if you look around, you see this kind of odd-looking guy, satyr, sort of walking around. That's probably the only one you've ever seen. Not really common in this region of the world. 2 sort of goat's horns curled up and coming back around, and sort of the tips sort of curl up just under his ears and are just, sort of on the sides of his head there. One sort of a little bit more cockeyed than the other, sort of coming around, having a good time, mixing around with people, got a nice couple, a nice drink in his hand, and going through his, showing little tricks to people, walking up and going, hey, I bet you didn't know you could do this, and you're pulling out, doing the classic coin rolling across the hand trick, and then making more and more appear until there's 2 on each finger, rolling them back and forth, and then suddenly they're all gone off of this hand, and they're over on this hand. I tried practicing that. It didn't go well.
I was wondering where that roll of quarters went.
Good, you only noticed one missing. Anyway, and just going through and just having a good time. And to the more perceptive out there, you might notice that certain people's possessions are appearing on other people. Just mixing things around for funsies.
Before we jump over to the next person,
Say
we
your
are.
name. Did you say your character's name?
No, I didn't. I suppose I should. My character's name is Televir.
So, some cards are passing around. I would like you guys to write a summary of your character sheet. There is an instruction card with what goes in which order.
Oh no.
It's like AC.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
that's
that
bonus.
kind of thing, like
It's-
passive perception.
My current character sheet is more of a summary than anything.
If you don't have it,
Yeah.
you have it by the time the session is really started. So you're walking around the bar, honey. You're at a table, correct?
Yes. Ideally, I'm kind of like in the corner, like sitting in the corner, and like maybe kind of sitting up because I'm just sort of watching stuff.
All right. Ashkar,
I do have a question. Remind me how you calculate passive insight.
10 plus whatever your insight bonus is.
Cool. Thank you.
Ashkar,
Perception.
are you at
Oh,
the
no, insight.
are you at the same table as Honey? Are you sitting elsewhere?
I could be for convenience's sake.
Yeah, let's have you at the same crammed at the same table as Honey because there's not a lot to do in town with the snows this heavy. There is some mobility in town, which I'll explain in a second, but there's not a ton to do. So, on a Tuesday night when there's nothing else happening, most people are sitting at a bar, bored and having a drink.
Unlike us nerds, you
Weirdly
mean?
called out. That was weirdly pointed.
Right.
I had to pull up my character description because I didn't print it out with all my abilities and stuff. So Ashkar is a half-orc. They are very tall and very broad and muscular. They're 6'7". They've got kind of greenish yellow skin and dark green hair with blue highlights that they wear in a braided mohawk. It's long, but it's pulled up and the braid goes down the ridge of their head. Their eyes are bright yellowish orange. They have a scar on their eyebrow, several more on their hands and arms when they take off their gauntlets. You can see the ones on their hands. Because they are completely clad in armor. It looks like your typical splint mail covered in runes. It's got some weird add-ons that you can't quite focus on, and unlike normal splint mail, chainmail has it covers every gap in where the armor would be, where clothing would normally be poking through. They are, like I said, big, broad-chested, burly, and then it's very obvious that they skip leg day. They also have a nose piercing, but no other jewelry. And they are currently nursing a beer and reviewing some designs, reviewing something in a book at their table.
Quick question for you. Gwen.
Yeah.
Nose piercing, nose piercing, nose piercing.
Nose piercing.
Cool.
Wait. So like one to each side, or like one all the way through?
One all the way through, I think.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's
Nice.
one big spike all the way through
Nice.
with little things on either side.
Question for these little things. It says save DCs, like,
That's what I have to roll to succeed against your saving throw.
So if you're a spellcaster,
It's in this box.
okay,
Oh,
so
no,
sorry.
say-
It's
yeah,
that. It's
Yeah,
that
okay.
number right there.
but that's, so
That's all I
just-
need to know.
you
I don't
just
need
need
to.
to
Yeah, I
spell
just
one?
need the
Okay.
number.
Cool. It said save DCs, and I was like, does he
And then
need
once
just
you
to
have
spell?
everything off this, hand the rest of the cards around, and then hand the template on so that I can start collecting you guys. Sorry about that. It is our first time doing this.
not
And,
playing D&D, just this game.
No, I'm gonna lie to them and tell them it's our first time playing D&D. That way we seem great.
That would be very
And
impressive.
do that after saying it all recorded.
I rolled
Yeah.
a nat 1 on my bluff check. What do you
We're
want from
recording.
me?
We're allowed to cut this. We won't be able to do this in the future, so make the fucking most of
As
it.
the
And then
person
you
with
just-
as the person with the editing software, no. This just goes
Gwen,
up.
can you fix this in post?
No!
Add some decals.
Oh my god.
Can you just blur out that entire cam?
No, but you can. Just unplug it and I am gone.
And no one will ever know.
Thistle, what are you doing right now?
Thistle, I think, has just come back inside. There was some news from one of the farmers that a couple of the goats had gotten out and had not come back with the bellwether. And so they had gone out to help and had marched out into the snow back when it was about 2 foot and are very much regretting that.
Have you been out for like a
Yes.
day or two looking for these goats? Or?
No, it has just been snowing
It's
very
been snowing
heavily.
okay, cool.
Yeah, it had melted a little bit and then had just slammed. It's one of those things where you're like out for an hour and suddenly you're like up to your nose and it sucks.
So to describe the town a little bit.
Yeah.
No, you know what? Describe your character. We'll describe the town once people get outside.
Cool. So Thistle enters the bar. Thistle being 5'4", and I think the shortest out of all of us at this point.
Roderick didn't actually mention a height.
That's
but...
true.
When I'm not slouching, around almost 6-ish, sort of in the 5'10", 6 ballpark, you know.
All right.
Digigrade legs. It's hard to tell when they're standing up fully.
Sort of weird crouch thing. It's like,
Yeah.
are you really standing up straight?
You don't know.
Who knows? But being 5'4", comes in basically caked with snow from here down, and also not much better up here because it is coming down. And so they enter the bar and I think are immediately shunted off to the side to brush themselves off and get near the fire. Thistle is a half elf, 5'4", very pale, skin that is originally pale but clearly well tanned with being out in the sun. They are wearing, normally they would be wearing very, very simple clothes. They have added a cloak for the purposes of not freezing to death out there. And very simple clothes. They've got, as they sort of take off the cloak, you can see that their arms have a number of scars and just sort of well-tested arms, if that's a thing. And a large crescent scar facing down. They have silvery hair. I think that goes to, oh no. They have silvery hair, similar in style to yours, except instead of a mohawk that ends at the back, it just grows long at the back and is braided down. I don't know if that matches what you have. It would be very funny if we had the same haircut. But yeah, Thistle walks in and immediately is split between going to the bar to get something warm to drink and going to the fire, not to throw themselves on it, but pretty nearly. And the bar for a warm drink ends up winning, and they tromp over shedding snow as they do.
Thistle, sit over here once you've got your drink.
So you hear a loud voice
Oh yes,
from across the bar.
I'm
and
familiar with that loud
a
voice.
number of people in the bar look over and just go, because you kind of get a feel for this bar after a couple of weeks of being snowed in up here.
And it being probably the only bar.
It is the only real bar in town. And, you know, it's a full inn, and it is probably one of the largest buildings still standing in town. Although the size of the new satellite campus for 5Cs, the Karnax College for Caution, Control, and Curiosity, the Arcane and Fine Arts School that is rebuilding its college campus after a small incident with an alchemical lab a couple of years ago, left a lovely crater in the mountainside.
It's still smoking.
It is still smoking, but only on the left half now. Construction has finally fully begun rebuilding, and the foundation had been set by the time the first snows really hit. It has since completely stopped. And the people who are here working on that are stuck here over the winter, and it has been a number of, as I said, a number of weeks. Now, the good news for this town in particular about having had a magical college here in the past and having one starting being rebuilding is that the main roads in town are actually enchanted with a heat enchantment. And so if you were to look over the town from above, it would seem as if somebody has carved nice troughs to all of the main buildings in town and all of the main roads. This is not the case on most of the smaller homes outside of the main roads where they tend to have a balcony on the second floor with a door out to it, just in case. Those are frequently being used this week. The snows have finally built up to that point. But most of the reasons all of you have come to town. Yes, but you might have skill proficiencies in one or the other.
Oh!
Yes,
Forgot about that.
So, most of the reasons you all are in town, nothing's happening. There's no progress with those. The college isn't being worked on right now. The reason that the congregation from the Church of Palor came to town, a new church that had popped up that people had been worrying about, the Church of the Multifaceted Goddess, turned out to be nothing more than just helpful people who have decided to drink from the gem spring waters and become crystalline. But that's totally above board. And,
Oh yeah. No problems there, not at all.
no sarcasm. Not at all.
Fine.
Technically it's
Everything's
underground.
fine.
Technically, it is underground. So you all are sitting here with nothing to do and nothing to do for the foreseeable future.
I tromp over with my glass of warm whatever's not alcoholic, and look at the two of you seated there, and end up sitting next to you because I feel like you're pretty well armored and you're not going to get soggy if I'm sitting next to you.
How are the goats?
Not as cold as I am. They have fur.
Did you find them?
I did find them.
Where'd they end up?
You know that crack just above the entrance of the cave?
Mm-hmm.
You know how there's that really steep wall?
Yes.
You know how there's a nice, like, lovely outlook at the very top of it?
Mm-hmm.
You know how it's impossible to get to the middle of that wall where the goats like to hang out from the bottom or from the top?
Mm-hmm. Unless you're a goat.
I pelted rocks at it until I got annoyed and jumped off, and then I just jumped down and snagged it.
What is with this town and all of the goats? They're just everywhere.
They are everywhere.
You-
Everywhere.
They made a pen, but it does not seem to be very effective at keeping them in.
From my limited knowledge, admittedly limited knowledge of goats, pens don't seem to work.
No. Mm-mm.
They didn't even try back at the monastery.
I was surprised that you, volunteered for goat duty. I was like, I don't want to go out there and deal with that.
To be fair, it was only 2 feet deep when I went out, and the options were goat wrangling or lose cards again.
Fair.
You're pointing over at a table.
No, I'm pointing at this one, right?
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact.
Hmm?
Random straight out there.
I also have dice.
Well, I found a new game to lose at.
I'm
Let's go.
sorry, did someone say dice? Hi, sorry,
Hi.
new person. I heard dice. Anybody?
I don't know how many.
Don't
how
play
many
with
players.
him.
No?
Have you done so?
I don't need to. I've just observed.
Uh-huh.
What do you gamble?
What are you offering?
Well, I mean, I don't really have much in the way of sort of coin.
Oh, that makes it even more interesting.
Oh, great. It's another
got?
one of them.
What you got? Well, first, can I have your name?
You can call me Thistle.
Oh, it seems you've met some of... Well, anyway, and you?
You can call me Ashkar.
You don't remember me.
Oh, you are that person.
Yes.
I thought you looked familiar.
Honey.
Honey, good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
So lovely. For you two, I'm Televir. Very nice to meet you both.
Tel Aviv or Tel Aviv?
Televir. Tel Aviv is
Televir.
the city that I use as a reference so you'd know sort of what it sounds like.
Ah.
Mm.
I
Not
never
that
did.
city
doesn't
exists
exist
in this world.
Oh, I've never been. And there's a good reason I've never been.
So, are we playing a game? Not to butt
You know what?
in.
No, I think
you were
I
having
think
a
I'm gonna
conversation.
watch the first round. But I'd love to see how you two do.
All right. Let's play for the next round of drinks.
Sounds good to me.
Alright, so you guys have actually learned a local game in this town. What the players do is they take between 1 to 5 dice. Secretly. They'll put
I'm good at that.
They'll put wagers on who's going to win. And they roll the number of dice and subtract the number of dice that they've rolled. So, if, for instance, I was to secretly take 3, and Grace,
What
you were to
size
secretly... D6s, normal dice.
Okay.
Secretly take any number of dice, 1 through 5, and roll my dice. I have rolled a 9, but I'm going to subtract 3 from it
Because you rolled 3 dice.
because I rolled 3 dice.
Interesting. So I rolled 6, 7, 8, but I subtract 4, so I have a 4. So you would win.
So
right?
I win.
I only prepared 4 sets of dice for today. Can somebody
I
hand me
only
6?
prepared 4 sets of dice.
Well,
You know
you should have
how
known about
many
this gambling
sets?
dice game that I literally made up right now. In addition, ties go to the player who rolled the lowest amount of dice.
Oh, roller,
Excellent.
dice roller.
There is frequently a bit of a mind game between players as they play this, where they will tell people how many dice they're rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Lying is permissible,
Oh, of course.
but the rolls happen simultaneously.
Can I make a quick dexterity check? I'd like to just sort of be one-handedly juggling all of my dice as I'm chatting, and right before I'm going to catch it and roll however many.
Sure, roll me a sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand for that, okay?
Sleight of hand.
Yeah, in the box, please. Shit. It was much better outside of the box.
Tell me what the number is.
It was a 12.
A 12.
It would have been 19.
Oh, poor Poopsie.
Your passive insight, or perception, is a 12. You do
14.
this,
14.
not yours.
Ah.
Ashkar's, yours is a 12. I'm going to say that because you were trying to show off, you do it really well, but you see him slide however many of the dice. So I'm going to make you say actually how many dice you're going to roll before you roll them.
3.
And so you have the amount of information because you see only 3 dice went into that hand and the other 2 went up the sleeve.
Okay.
Roll when you're ready.
Shall we?
Okay, now I can make you wait because everybody else is rolling dice.
And then the second check.
Oh my god.
I would like to manipulate the landing of the die a little bit.
Roll it. It's going to be a slightly harder DC.
D20 sleight of hand?
D20 sleight of hand.
That would be a 24. So how are we going to play that out?
I'll let you add 2 to your roll.
Cool.
And you don't notice this.
Yep. Shall we?
You gonna do it?
Roll them.
Oh my god, stop dice teasing us. Roll in your box.
Jesus fuck.
That would be 17.
Dang.
Mine's only a 16 without the cheating.
Well, minus 3. So,
And minus how many?
14.
Minus 4. So 12.
So I believe you're buying a round of drinks. I'd love a glass of whiskey. How about you?
Have you had what they call whiskey at the bar?
Unfortunately, no. Is it that bad?
Stick with the beer.
Oh, damn. Mountain towns, you never know. Sometimes it's the best whiskey you've never had. Or, well, you know.
Interesting phrase.
So Televere and Thistle. Ashgar, I'm assuming you go to the bar.
Yeah, although point of interest, don't actually know if I have any starting money.
Yes.
We never.
You guys have some amount of money. It is not excessive, but it is what your character would have. You've got a reasonable amount for...
Roll
We're starting at
3d12.
Level 3.
We're starting at level 3.
Fair enough.
You have whatever your character should have.
I just gave myself starter equipment, basically.
That's
plus
fine.
Plus some bonus stuff. But not money.
You certainly have enough money to cover a round of drinks at the bar. And then some. I mean, you guys we're starting at level 3, so you're all reasonably experienced and reasonably successful in what you've done. But I would say none of you are by any means extravagantly wealthy. Especially because I believe none of you took the noble background.
Oh no.
No, we did not.
Very no.
So the two of you, over here, a nearby table, which looks to be a bunch of the construction workers for the college arguing. You overhear them talking about, you know, there's nothing for us to do. They're paying us a stipend, but they're not actually really paying us that much right now. But you know, I heard some of the, you know, snobbier ones talking about trying to see if they could drum up anybody to go into the cavern and see if they could find another cave of the crystals. Shh, don't talk about it so loud. You don't want any of the Gemborn to hear you. You talk way too derisively around them. They're just normal people. They just... It's like getting weird tattoos, I guess. Look, man, I'm just saying there's probably a lot of money in it for it because you know that school's pockets are super deep, and the whole reason they're building the campus up here is because they found those crystals in the caves there. And, you know, I'm telling you, I heard that, what's his name, that dumb bird talk about how they were looking for, if they could find some other crystals, it might be, you know, worth something.
I phased out of this conversation as soon as they were like, it might be worth a lot of money to go do this thing, because I was like, not interested.
Okay, cool. So you're not paying any attention.
I'm not paying any attention past that
tell
point.
me, you're hearing that, you know, it might be worth some money for, you know.
I am looking to hear if anybody else, to see if anybody else is noticing this.
I mean...
Are you trying to keep your eavesdropping quiet, or?
I mean, at first, but after a little bit, I think we're going to go up and just sort of lean in really close between their heads and go, "You're really bad at whispering when you're trying." Were you trying? No?
No. As one, just jump.
Interesting.
Like, fully jump. Oh my god, the entire room looks over.
I like him.
He's good.
I like that attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter, man. We were just... Shut up.
Oh no.
Look, you obviously
good.
overheard. And the one guy who was kind of being more, I don't know, man. I don't want to go. He's like, hey, I'm not going in there anyways.
Don't blame you. Kind of weird.
But who the hell knows what lives in those caves? I am not a cave diver.
Did you hear about the
whatever.
one cave they found? The one that found really deep? The really, really deep one? Have you
How
heard
deep
stories?
was it?
No. They kind of look a little weird.
If you haven't heard those stories, don't go.
See? It might be worth the money. Dude, I'm not getting killed in a cave. It's not happening.
Good man.
And they kind of like... Are you sticking around there?
At that point, I'm sort of looking over to see if Ashkar's sort of heading back this way.
Cut back to you in a second.
But before I go, I'll lean in and, you know, stage whisper. There's a saying that I'm rather familiar with, and then there is just this horrible train of guttural, horrible sounds. As I say in Undercommon, it's best not to turn every stone over.
Cool.
I like that sound.
Nobody else here knows what the fuck that means or says.
But it's one of those languages that just sort of sets your ears on edge.
Just like somebody gargling with gravel.
Making you gargle with gravel as they're speaking. Not sure how that works, but it does.
It's all about the ears.
Right?
Yeah.
You speak under
That
common and
happens.
suddenly everyone has synesthesia.
They kind of finish their drinks and go, yeah, man, and get up, and they leave. They just leave the bar. They're like,
You don't have to chase everyone away.
I'm done.
Well, sure, but, I mean, you're a paladin. Like, you know it's best to discourage people from doing stupid things and get themselves killed if they're not prepared and know what they're doing.
My understanding was she was a paladin, less paladin-like.
I am, in
Yeah,
fact,
I mean,
a paladin.
She is of the order.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know.
I mean, you have a
Close
point.
enough.
Yes, we don't want stupid people doing stupid shit. On the other hand, you could be nicer about it.
So,
it's more fun to mess with them.
cutting over to Ashkar, you walk over to the bar, and it is... How polite are you being? It's a crowded bar.
I'm patient.
Okay, so it's taking a little while. You're about most of the way to the bar, and you're like 4 people behind in putting, drink orders in, sitting there when all of this happens, and your attention is pulled over, and the person you just lost a bet to, Telavir, is being obnoxious at a different table now.
Me? No, never.
Skip his whiskey. He won't notice. He's distracted.
By the time the first person gets their, things come back together, the first person gets their drink and they move on. You see that the other people have left. There's a new table open, which, if you guys don't claim the new table, is quickly taken by people who are stuck standing.
I mean, I feel like we've already got a table.
You already have a table.
We got a table to people watch, no less.
There's a couple more eyes saying, is that table going to do anything? But nobody's really taking an interest in you. And you're kind of stuck up at the front of the bar, and you overhear somebody talking just to their neighbor. I keep hearing stories about stuff in the woods. People seeing eyes again. Roll me a D% real quick.
2.
Well done.
2. Yeah, people are seeing eyes.
And nothing else.
I heard that the hunters are refusing to even go into the woods. Like,
It's so hard not to do it.
you're not there. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
No. Just.
No, I
into
know the
woods.
reference.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. No singing real world songs at the table.
I know.
Yeah, no, I hear the hunters aren't even going into the woods anymore, and the other person's like, well, yeah, but they don't go hunting that much when there's this much snow anyways. So, that's not really a good judgment call. I don't know, man. You're just hearing some back and forth about that. Nothing really. It's now your turn up at the bar. Were you just getting a round for the two of you?
No, I'm going to include, Thistle and then be rude to exclude Honey. So I got 3 beers and a, cider.
Hot mulled cider. Mm-hmm.
3 beers and a cider.
Is 4 drinks. I thought you were excluding.
No, it would be rude to exclude her.
Ah.
And they are not rude.
I thought you said you were being
Anyways,
There thou assume.
You make your way back over.
Juggling these drinks.
They're big.
I'm just resting them on my biceps now.
They're big steins. It's not hard. You come over, place the drinks out in front of everybody, and you all are back at the table.
Thank you kindly.
Cheers.
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 Very gently.
Right in the mic.
I don't wanna. It's a nice mug.
Oh, that's true. My mug stands to demolish yours.
This is my selfie mug.
Mug fights.
So Honey's been sitting there kind of all day and kind of just listening for gossip because Honey just likes to know stuff. Has Honey heard anything?
Sure, roll me a D%.
Okay.
Roll better than a 2.
I think I'm just like slowly dripping on the floor and
That would be an 85.
85.
Nice.
Honey's heard a couple of different things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of different talk about a lot of the standard gossip that's been going back and forth forever.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about how people are happy that the conflicts never broke out between some of the various factions that have come into town over the last year, such as the Church of the Multifaceted Goddess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole reason you're what is the word?
In town?
No. The group of the delegation. That's the word. Your delegation from the Church of Palor in Veneria. The whole reason that you guys came to town is because you heard word that there was some crystal cult starting up in the mountains, and it turned out to be a bunch of citizens who have decided to drink and dunk themselves in the river.
Embrace the
Coming
clearer
through.
lifestyle.
River coming through town that over, at some point in the last year had started transforming those who came in contact with it into living beings of crystal. And it, sounded way scarier than it seems to be, and a lot of that tension has diminished, but there's still some wariness as to, well, why are you guys still in town? It's because you're snowed in here is why you're still in town for the most part. And it turns out it was a little bit of a false alarm. People are worried about conflicts between 5Cs, the Karnax College, because the whole reason they came back was to study these crystals that were changing animals and people.
Can I just say that I'm still calling them the cult in my notes?
You can still call them the cult in your notes. They are...
Or in your character.
Or in your character. They do not call themselves a cult, and the townsfolk have mostly transitioned to calling them what they have decreed themselves to be, which is the Church of the Multifaceted Goddess.
And it's respectful to call them the name that they asked to be called by. That's just basic human decency.
Which
To
is
be
why
fair-
we call them a cult now.
Cults rarely call themselves cults.
In any case, so you heard some rumors about that. You heard rumors about the agreement between the church who came to study these crystals and the Church of the Multifaceted Goddess, barring access to the cavern which these crystals were found in and seem to be growing in. And so there's been talk about that. The only other interesting fact that you've heard is that they're on what remains of the mountain that was just to the east of town before it collapsed fairly recently. People have seen a light shining at the top of the mountain occasionally, and it seems to be blinking in some sort of a pattern. It is not a common rumor that you've heard before, so it was particularly interesting to you, which is why you made a note of it. That story, you have only heard it today, even though I'm assuming you've been doing this for the last few days. That's the only new rumor you've heard recently, and you heard it as, well, my, brother's wife's cousin. Just say Jim. We know you're talking about Jim, and we know that Jim drinks too much, so he's not really... Fine. Anyway, look, this was one of his more reliable stories, but Jim saw this light blinking, and had a very specific pattern. It was like... Oh, damn it! Now I'm the unreliable narrator. Oh my god, you're just as bad as Jim. Going on. But he said it had some specific pattern of blinking that coincided with the full moon.
Okay.
3 days ago.
Speaking of, if nobody's seen the moon, you should check that out after the game.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. And do I recognize these people well enough to deduce which Jim they may or may not be talking about, so I can go hunt down said Jim if I want?
Oh, you know Jim.
Okay.
Does everybody know
Bless
Jim?
his heart.
Everybody knows Jim.
Bless his heart.
Everybody knows Jim.
He's a gnome who was an alchemical assistant that got fired for drinking some of the chemicals he should not have been drinking in a recreational aspect.
You know that's formaldehyde, don't you?
It was fun, and I stand by it.
This is my comment. Jim the gnome, alchemical junkie.
He's one of those really, really technically smart people that makes just terrible life choices, and he's just an unreliable individual.
That's very sad.
He seems to be doing well enough for himself, and he doesn't push things to the point where
It's an actual problem.
it's an actual problem, but like, everybody knows Jim.
It's not that funny.
Yeah, you guys are all at the table. Oh, sorry, actually, you have heard one other rumor. Sorry, I forgot you had an 85.
I did.
There's a couple of houses that are closer to the old mansion to the southwest of town. The people who live in them have been talking about having weird dreams where they're dreaming of a voice, like their dreams are going normally, and then they hear a voice in their dreams that promises them good things in exchange for secrets.
Sounds legit.
Alrighty be then. My, there is a lot of rumors going on around in this tavern today.
There's not much else to do, to be fair.
That is fair.
Speaking of which, can I get in on the next round?
Of
Of dice.
Oh.
Yes. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
I'm still working on my cider. You looked at me like I had
Sure.
the second head.
Real quick,
Yeah?
I'm going to throw this to the group. What's the dice game called? Who wants it? Who wants to name it?
Crimbus.
Crimbus? It's named Crimbus.
Okay.
I was gonna go goat toes, but I like Christmas.
As I said at the start, collaborative storytelling.
Crimbus. How many dice do you roll for Crimbus?
1 to 5.
1 to 5. I thought it was 1 to 6.
If you ever roll 1 dice and win against a 5 dice hand, you basically it's a unwritten rule.
Yeah, okay.
You basically get to double whatever the wager is. So everybody knows going into it that the if you win with 1 against 5, it's double whatever the original wager is. And sometimes people will intentionally throw 1 dice.
Just hoping.
Just knowing that they're almost certainly going to lose the bet, but to just be like, oh, I'm better than you.
Are we going to do another round or two?
I'd like to do another round.
Sure,
What
I'll
are
get
we
into.
doing then, eh?
Next time I volunteer for the compost pile duty, you're going to give me a backup hand.
Ooh, you're a mean one. Okay.
Named Thistle for a reason.
Okay.
Mom said I was kind of a prick.
Just the two of us, or are the two of you getting as well?
I'll get in.
Might as well.
Yeah, what are you wagering?
Oh yeah?
Oh, see, people always forget to ask.
Not me. I have enough experience with that.
Oh no, you were also a mean one, aren't you? Well, that's for fun. Let's see. You volunteer for the compost heap. I have to come help you. No, sorry, I have to give you a backup hand. Yes.
Yes. That means usually pulling the wagon. I'll handle the shovel.
I'll get you a backup hand. Yes. Now for
You know
me,
this gentleman, right?
You better be specific with your words.
Am I gonna find a disembodied hand? Because that's sort
No.
of the...
No.
You have
no.
to pull...
No.
You have to pull the wagon while I do my work.
Okay,
in such a way that
fine.
does not directly
No,
impede me
I would
doing
find
my
some
work.
drunkard and put them on it. That would work.
You are going to hold with your 2 hands.
I will personally do the work if you win.
Yes.
Very well. Now, for me, what am I betting? I want a story.
The
Of
bedtime
you.
kind or
Of you.
of me?
A story.
So are we doing this
Alright.
that whichever one of us wins has to tell you a story?
No.
No,
That's,
no. That's
This
what
is-
he wins if he. So does
If
that
he
mean that
win-
you
If
get
I
it from
win,
all of us?
I want a story.
From
One for me each, yes.
okay,
Yes,
so if
yes.
I win, everybody's helping out at the compost pile.
Yes.
Come the
Sure,
first
why not?
thaw.
It is a bit hard early, isn't it?
It is, but there is still plenty of food waste that can go out there. But
That's
that's
fair.
not generally what I volunteer for.
And it would be good to make sure that field grows nicely.
It also needs to be turned on occasion, and that you can do in the winter. It's just a real bitch.
it's a pretty good wager.
Better win then, what shouldn't I? How about you, Ashkara? What do you got?
You have to come up with something that I haven't already promised you.
Could just buy some
No
round of
fish
drinks.
slapping.
That is the problem, is it not? Well, I am sleeping in a barn and it's kind of cold, so if I win, you guys will,
Why are you sleeping in a barn?
that's where I was from.
There.
I can respect that.
Come up with something to keep me more warm at night.
I knew that face was going to happen the second you said that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm sure you don't.
I'm glad I missed it.
And you, honey?
If I win, y'all have to come with me to go talk to a fella named Jim.
Is it that Jim?
It is.
It's that Jim.
It's always fun to talk with him, but there is something specific I want to know from him, and having backup would help me.
Didn't he break the table at the festival dancing on it?
He did.
The table
Wait.
that was like, yeah, the very solid table.
The gnome?
Yes,
The,
that
like,
Jim.
30-pound gnome!
Oh my god, he was 30 more pounds after all that he drank.
Mm-hmm.
And he snapped that table in
Well,
two. I don't know what kind of
reckon
heel
that-
dance he was doing, but
I
it
reckon.
was rough.
I reckon there was more than just alcohol in him at that occasion, as there usually is. Which is why I'd like some backup when I go talk to him.
I don't blame you. That's acceptable to me. And do you agree?
Sure.
Yeah, I've
Then
got...
let's roll.
It's fine, right?
So, going over the rolls one more time.
Yep, please.
Everybody secretly takes between 1 to 5 dice, and as one, everybody in on the bet rolls the dice. You add up the total of the numbers on your dice, and subtract the number of dice you've rolled. Ties go to the person who has the least number of dice.
Yep.
Again, I'm manipulating the dice.
How many manipulations are you going to do?
Just one.
I
Just
want
one?
to watch him.
I want to make sure I have the lowest possible roll. That isn't 0. With however many dice I roll. Which I haven't decided yet.
The lowest possible?
I want to deliberately lose.
Okay, interesting. I want to watch him.
Got it. Sure. Roll a perception, roll a sleight of hand. You have a base DC and then a DC, you have to beat them to do it.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 17.
I rolled a 25.
Ah.
Alright, you are successfully able to lose. Don't even have to roll. How
But I want
bad?
to see how
Badly do you lose by?
I think I rolled about a 7. Well,
It makes such a good noise.
7, but I rolled
What about
5, so that's
So you got a 2. Got it.
Okay, 1,
Are we rolling?
2,
3.
3.
Yes!
Oh, that's shit.
Y'all are on
Ah, man.
compost duty.
Oh!
We are.
Yep, for sure.
That is a 6, a 6, and a 5, so that is going to be 12, 13, 14 total.
Well,
damn.
I rolled a 12 minus
Well.
2, so
11
10.
minus 3 is...
An 8?
8, yep.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 6, a 6, and a 5, so that's a 14 total.
Damn, I would have tied.
But you rolled more
But
dice
you
than me.
cheated.
You rolled
Yes.
4.
No. He rolled
I also rolled
5
dice.
dice and rolled a 2.
Yep.
You were
Bad
looking. You were looking for him to
I
modify
was,
the
yeah.
dice, and there's no way he could have
Yep.
with the roll he made.
Well, now I feel a little bad for suspecting him of cheating.
Well,
Have any of you done compost duty before?
yes, it's
Yes.
rather shitty.
By nature, yeah.
Oh well. You win some, you lose some.
Mm.
And sometimes you make a new friend along the way. So,
Speaking of another round,
I've got nothing against it, but,
Something else to
why
suggest?
were you asking to go speak with this Jim? Usually people try to avoid him. I'm a bit curious.
Well, I know he's an unreliable narrator. But most what
That's a wonderful turn of phrase, right?
So I've been hanging out in this here bar, listening to folks, and you hear a lot of interesting things. And anyway, this actually didn't come from Jim. It came from his cousin or I don't know. I can't keep track of how all the gnomes are related around here. But apparently he's been seeing something interesting, and I want to figure out if he's actually seen something interesting, or if he's just being his usual Jim self.
I mean, that sounds like an interesting wager in its own right.
Actually, yeah.
If he did see something interesting, the thing that he saw, I would then want to go check it out. But that could be another round of dice.
Before or after the snow stops? Because if it...
After.
Okay, I was going to say, if we're checking it out, it's almost over my head at this point.
No.
I think the only place safe to explore right now is the caves.
That's not necessarily true.
No.
I've got a beer mug. It's got a lovely bottom to explore.
Avalanches are a thing.
Yeah,
I do not want to get snowed in there.
I mean, the evidence suggests that there are more than one entrance.
And not all of them topside.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear those rumors, yeah.
They're fun, aren't they? Little creepy crawlies in the darkness. You never know what you might find.
A spider. A big one.
You
Or
hope
other
it's just a
things.
spider.
did you hear about the person that came up there?
The what now?
The person that came up from down under there.
So, all of you, you're talking about the one that happened in the world building.
Mm-hmm.
All of you know about this person. When it happened, rumor spread through the town about them like wildfire. So I don't think I've mentioned it. To let the viewers know, we played a little world building game to sort of set the stage for our
Collaboratively.
collaborating. I can't speak. Collaboratively, we played this world building game called A Quiet Year to set the stage for our campaign going into it. So we all had a hand in building the town, which is where the Church of the Multifaceted Goddess came from. It's where a lot of the initial conflicts of our world came from that will be explored if we explore it, or not if we don't.
I was just going to pass a note along.
Fine.
I was just...
Towards the end of the game, another person who was gemborn, but sort of more sickly, like the gemborn folks who have drink from the gem spring.
It's not important for now, yeah.
Yeah. Came out from the caverns in the mountain, and came up and mostly spoke with the church. A lot of what they spoke about isn't really known, but this individual seemed sickly, and a number of the gemborn have seemed slightly more brittle and sickly since then. It's
That's
not
right.
all of them. It hasn't spread particularly far, but there is a small contingent of people of gemborn individuals in town who have. The crystals tend to be a little bit more blue in hue, and the sickly. It's a good example.
Sapphire flu.
No, a sapphire hue, and then the sicklier ones tend to take on a little more green, yellowish cast to their luster.
Sea glass sickness.
Exactly. That is not what it's called
Yet.
yet.
I don't think any of these guys have seen the sea.
They are not frequently seen in town. If they get sick, they are typically tend to in part of the caves that the gemborn have. Not necessarily all of the gemborn are part of this religion, but the religious majority of them have sort of sectioned off a segment of these caverns, and most people in town don't really know what happens in there. You all have heard about this person coming up from deep in the caves below, which is part of why the school thinks that there are more caverns down there with gems in them.
Interesting.
Okay.
So I haven't taken much of a look around the bar because it is cold outside and I just got in. But I would wager that Jim is probably here somewhere. Because it's cold outside, there's no work to be done, there's no one to bully him into doing work, and there's alcohol here.
On the other hand, Jim is this tall, and the snow is this tall.
That's a good point. We could dig him out of his house.
We might have to. I've been keeping an eye out. Do I see Jim in the bar?
Roll me an investigation check with advantage because you've been here all day because you have nothing else to do.
And you've been people watching.
And you've been people watching.
That is a nat 20.
So,
First one.
For, what is it, insight you said?
no, first 20.
No.
Insight.
Is it, investigation?
Investigation.
I have -1 to my investigation.
Unnatural 19, the best you can roll. Fantastic. That is perfectly good enough to know that Jim is not in the bar. Jim came in at around noon today, picked up what appears to be, you've seen him do this a couple of times, picked up a good amount of food, a refill of a couple of growlers of beer and stuff, and then left because he didn't want to have to pay for a room, and he did not want to have to walk home and in the dark. He went out when it was somewhat warm, and he, stayed for about an hour for lunch and then went home.
That Jim is smarter than I think a lot of people give him credit for.
He's smart, he just parties.
And that's kind of addled his brains a little bit. Like, he's smart, but like he does dumb things.
Yet they still somehow work out most of the time.
Mm-hmm. That's the smart part kicking in.
He
Or
defies probability. Anyway.
Given that you all are all at least head and shoulders taller than me, I will let you off of compost heap duty if you just sort of take the lead and dig a path, because otherwise I'm just gonna get stuck in snow. Are we doing this now? Is that the plan?
We don't have to do this now unless we all want to. And I might, let me see, do I have anything?
So what I will say is, you do all have the proper cold weather gear to be out and about in the cold. You've got snowshoes, so you can deal with that. You still have to break through fresh powder and stuff.
I imagine right out front
What do
there's
y'all-
enough breaking, but to get to his house.
This town is on the main road. You guys could take the main roads that are cleared, and then get to his house in town fairly reasonably.
We can't get clear roads here in 2 foot of snow.
No. There are clear
What
roads to
magical
here.
snow plows are there using?
Literally,
magically heated
the
roads
roads
that
are
you didn't
Oh, I
hear.
missed that part.
Okay, yeah.
I was writing.
Okay, a lot of the main roads in town are magically heated, so there are. Once you leave town, it's fucking snow.
Yeah.
But in the main thoroughfare of town, it's down to stone.
This
and
one
it's
goes
fine.
outside and just goes on the roof. Just
Yes.
leave me here.
It
You
is
wanna
not.
warm up for a
It is
second.
not that heated, but it is.
Yeah.
It is enough so that snow does not build on the
It
roads.
sits like a nice 40 degrees.
So there's a nice river with solid ice on top as it melts and then starts to
No.
flow.
It was designed by smart wizards. Stop poking holes in my
So
magic.
there's drainage ditches. I'm gonna stop now.
No, the river goes that way.
I was about to say you're as bad as the river.
I will fully design this if you make me for next session.
No, we're.
Don't make me do this for next session.
If you do,
I want a
I
working
promise I'll lie
model.
down in a ditch. It's something that Mercury does, and it's now I've decided something that Thistle does.
In any case, you guys can get around and go explore with reasonable amounts of effort.
I take back my thing about the compost pile then.
We still owe you on
Shit.
the compost pile.
Yes! You really like that joke, huh?
No, it just seemed appropriate.
So,
I
Like-
would like to warm up just a little bit longer.
as a
I
person
reckon.
who's gone doing backcountry stuff in 4 feet of fresh snow, it's a lot of work, but it's not unreasonable for you guys to be able to do this.
Man, somebody's flexing.
I am. Fully.
I'm gonna get another cider and then I'll be
Yeah.
ready to head out whenever you are interested in it.
Sounds reasonable.
Works for me. That mulled cider does seem very good.
It does. Do you want me to
Okay.
grab you one?
I was gonna offer to grab you.
Let's go. We head up to the bar.
I'll happily take one as well.
Why not?
Perfect.
They do have an option of the mulled cider with a shot of whiskey in it. I'm assuming you did not want that, as your character
No.
does not drink.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
I'll take it sans.
Same.
Very well.
Sober up a little bit before we go out and do stuff.
Are you-
I've
Oh,
been in
that
the bar
sounds boring.
all day.
I haven't been drinking the whole day,
The
but I've
week-
had like a steady drink.
The whiskey here is not actually that bad. It is just very strong, and it makes itself known.
Perfect for spiking things with.
Exactly. You are just very aware that you are drinking a whiskey.
Oh, good.
In a way that some people might not like.
That's fine by me.
This is making me ready to kill for a whiskey.
I know, right?
I'm just like, meh.
Next
Smell
session,
it?
we'll hit the bar first.
This session, you hit the bar first. So, is there anything else you guys want to do in this bar or talk about, or are you heading out to Jim's place?
I have a question before we go. Ashkar was not actually present for the conversation about the university. Is that something that they pick up through other rumors, or that gets mentioned throughout the evening?
That was sort of the opportunity to hear people talking about it at the moment. Depending on how long you guys are still in the bar, you will hear about it if these guys talk about it, or you may hear about it if other people are talking about it. If you guys are leaving in the next the bar in the next 10 to 15 minutes,
I have to finish my drink, and it's going to take me at least half an hour.
so you guys are going to be in the bar for another half an hour. Roll me a luck check. Wait, actually, first question: are the rest of you going to bring that up and talk about it?
I mean, if we're just sitting at the table shooting the shit, I can mention the stipend pay. I'll probably mention the stipend payments to you, because that seems to be given your work with the Church of the
Taylor.
nope
Church of the
the
multifaceted,
multifaceted
goddess.
mother
Yes.
goddess, the multifaceted goddess. Given you're here because of the Church of the multifaceted goddess,
Actually, I like mother better. You guys find if we change that to multifaceted mother?
I love it.
Yes.
Let's do that.
Oh, it would be of interest to you that that the university is trying to find people to go in deeper,
Yep.
and I don't know if that's an avenue that you want to explore to better understand the gem bond. What are they called?
Gemborn.
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 Thank you, Gemborn. Born. Speaking,
That's
I'm
interesting.
gonna accidentally say djembe at least 3 times.
going back to drinks though,
Footage.
I am about to stand up and get some water and use the restroom. Does anybody want
I would
water?
love a refill on water if you
Water?
don't mind.
I will fill my own water because you've already got 2 mugs. So,
I have many hands.
okay.
I also need to use the restroom, so I will run upstairs really quick and be back.
Well then, why don't we take a break for a few minutes?
Yeah,
and,
let's.
We'll be back in 5 minutes. And we're back from our break for the first time. This is definitely the first take.
Absolutely the first take.
Fully the first take. Thank you, Gwen, for removing things in post. You guys have had some more drinks at the bar. How's everybody doing sobriety-wise? This isn't going to be a roll or anything, but just looking at going in character-wise where you're at.
As we all know, I'm absolutely trashed.
Exactly. You,
Stone sober.
I don't think I'm quite at disadvantage.
drunk but not disadvantaged? Sounds good.
Not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Really not drunk.
Okay.
Same.
The sun has fallen, it's dark, it's like, I want to say -6 Fahrenheit. It is
Nice and cozy warm.
cold out.
Yeah.
You all have the proper furs and cloaks and gloves and everything are all bundled up. I'm assuming a lot of that goes on, you've gotten size to go on over your armor.
It's just a giant sheepskin cloak.
You probably need more than that, but yes.
I want one.
Not with the full armor necessarily.
Not necessarily with the full armor.
I mean, given like
But-
a gambazon underneath that, that's already baking.
Yeah.
Not if the armor itself is at negative something.
Doesn't
Fair.
matter if it's on the
But my
outside.
armor's magic.
Ooh. You guys start heading out. I believe, know where Jim lives.
I do.
Why don't you just roll me a d20 survival check on that? Don't roll a 1. You're fine.
That's a
I
12.
saw 2 digits. That's all I need to know. You guys are able to make it through town. It probably takes you a little bit longer than it would have normally, which is about, I don't know, like 15 minutes, 20-minute walk, because you decide to walk on the roads that don't have snow more than the ones where you have to deal with snow. So you kind of had to zigzag around a bit more and walk a few extra blocks.
As the largest person in the party, I'm probably the one breaking the snow as we head towards.
Right. You guys
Jim's.
all have large snowshoes that you guys have been given or have paid for after the first big snow of the season. Because as all of you came into town, you all came into town with money, and as the town did not have money, a number of enterprising individuals at very reasonable rates have custom made a bunch of the things that you really need to have to survive out here in the mountains. And you all have learned, yes, you needed the stuff, and you now have the stuff by whatever means you used to get the stuff.
I think we also learned that there's a Reinhold Heights anti-discount.
Oh,
There's a premium tax.
have you all
Reinhold Heights.
realized that yet?
I think I have.
Oh, I realized that.
I've paid mostly in services like fixing
Yeah,
self-opening
I've
barn
realized
doors
that.
and stuff like that.
That's fair.
so.
Would you
Nope.
consider that wisdom or intelligence?
That's a wisdom.
That's wisdom.
Okay,
That's
that's
wisdom.
cool. That's
It's
19.
insight.
I definitely figured it out.
But you all, maybe you didn't need to, but a number of you needed to learn that. It was harder to pay in services if you called it Reinhold Heights than if you just called it Rhine.
Bread that was, 5 copper yesterday was 2 copper today because I said rhyme.
You're learning, honey. And don't be such foreigner. No, that was the person you were talking to.
That's fair, but that's honey.
Honey wasn't there.
I have a character
I'm just-
named honestly in another game, and if you think I'm not going to pull the same pedantic shit that I do
I'm
there,
just
you're wrong.
no-ending.
The doctor is sweet.
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
So, you guys make your way up to his house, and you can tell that the bare minimum of shoveling and maintenance on the front of the house has been dealt with, and the
So there's like a tunnel that just goes down to the door.
Which
and that's
do you
it.
think-
there's a small tunnel that is not big enough for any of you to comfortably make it to that goes down to the door.
Which
to the
do you
door.
think would be most effective for getting rid of the snow? Divine Smite, Command, or Compel Duel?
I reach
None
out
of
and
the
tap you
above.
on the shoulder, and I hand you the
disagree.
shovel that I
I
have.
think Thunderwave.
So,
Would technically work.
what
Yes.
I will
That's
say
my
is,
go-to.
Where would the snow go, though?
you
There's
can tell
windows.
that the door of this house
Uh-huh.
has a door and then a gnome-sized door.
Mm.
And only the gnome-sized door built into the door. It's like one of those like,
a barn door.
it's like a barn door,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but specifically
It's a
designed
Dutch door, except for
Dutch door, yeah, that's the word I want.
so that, like, when there's no snow, you just open the bottom half of the door. When there's a ton of snow, you just open
Traveling at
the top half of the door, and you have a little
That's very
staircase
clever.
built in. And if you have tall visitors over,
They just sort of slide in on their belly.
well, they don't come over when it's snowing, or they open the full door when they walk in.
if they dig it out.
Well, now you guys are there. Basically, there's a balcony that comes out over where the snow line is, and the snow's not quite up enough to the balcony. A number of people have actually shoveled snow into a ramp so that they can just use the balcony. He has decided to just shovel a little tunnel out so he can just use the top half of the door. Because it was less work for now, and he'll use the top half when snow dumps. It's going to happen over the next week or two, and then he'll use the top one.
Ashkar, how strong are you?
But you're here.
I was just gonna...
Why?
How strong are you? You look pretty damn strong.
I can lift something heavy.
Great! I sort of springboard up off of Ashkar up onto the balcony.
Acrobatics check. Strength save. Real low DC.
That's you, Gwen.
Yeah.
That was only a 13.
You should knock.
I will.
The 17.
Easy. It's not hard. You probably could have done it without springboarding, but it was easier because of it.
But it was
More
funner.
fun.
That too.
So
I lean over to Thistle and I say, next time he does that without asking, I'm going to pull his pants down.
with a passive perception of 14, do I hear this?
Were you trying to be quiet?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I think it happens as you knock on the door.
Fair enough.
I'm assuming you knock on the door.
Well, I sort of,
Way to
up,
speculate.
vault over, sitting on the railing, lean over, whack, whack, whack. Kicking legs.
You hear some muttering. Someone, who the hell is... Upper level!
Someone as lazy as you! Knock, knock, knock.
No. Like, it's obviously someone yelling. It takes a minute here. Shutters.
Flash.
No. Climb. You hear a slight climbing. The higher curtain opens up. Do I know you?
Nope. But I have a friend who's looking for you. You know, honey, the paladin,
Hi,
big,
Jim.
tall,
Jim's
very
not
blonde.
here. Jim says.
Jim, darling. I know it's you.
I'll-
You know it's me.
I'll get you your money on Tuesday.
Ooh, you owe somebody money.
No,
It sounds like you do.
I don't think I do.
I'm not here about that particular matter. You can take that up with Hephaestus.
Who is Hephaestus?
One of the other people in my order.
Alright. That was out of character.
I will know. You don't think Jim owes the church money? He
No,
might.
I think he owes Hephaestus money.
Oh, that's fair. he might.
If he owes any of us money, he
It's
owes
Hephaestus?
Hephaestus money.
Hephaestus, the church's finest backgammon shark.
I mean, he was, but then he saw the light, and now he works and he uses his powers for the glory of Palor. In the form
Gambling
of business.
for good. Got it.
Exactly.
Gambling
He
for
uses it-
donations.
He
Gambling
uses
for
it
God.
to heal hearts and also count cards at hearts.
No, I'm actually here, Jim, because I heard an interesting thing that you might have told your cousin, and I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth, as it were, for the gnomes. It's about something you might have seen up on the mountains a couple nights ago on the full moon.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Insight check.
None of you have to. He knows what he knows what he's lying and not particularly well.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna be like,
All of you have reasonable passive insights. Actually, pretty decent ones.
We're a bunch of smart cookies.
If you would do us the kindness of letting us into your abode, we would be happy to talk with you about this, and I'm sure we could make it worth your time and your effort.
Alright, fine.
Thank you kindly.
You hear like latch. The door opens. Hurry up! Get in.
Yeah,
It's cold out.
Give it a moment. I'm gonna sort of like lean back over the railing,
I'm
offer
inside.
hands to help people.
Yeah. It's not hard. It's just not glamorous. I think all of you have a decent enough strength, athletics or acrobatics score to do it on anything but a 1. If you want to roll for it, go
I
for
do
it.
want to roll for it because I feel like I do it pretty good.
Yeah, go for it.
What are we rolling?
Monk.
Acrobatics or athletics?
Ooh, that's
Oh,
19 on
athletics
the
for
die,
sure.
so that's a 24 acrobatics.
Oh,
10.
you're just whoop, in the door.
16
I-
athletics.
The second he says
Yeah.
get in, I am past Talavir. I'm just like...
I sort of imagine you sort of like leaping up, handstanding over the a balcony railing, and just sort of sauntering.
Just
No.
some tidy shit.
It's one of those things where you jump up, you plant your hands, and then you tuck your legs underneath and sort of shoot legs first forward.
Nice,
and I just
nice.
shoot
You just shoot through the door.
like past him. Yep,
Just straight over his head.
yep, just like shoot.
I rolled a 10. I feel like it's a little bit awkward for me to get into a gnome house.
It is the armor,
It's
my friend.
there are a number of rooms, including the front room, both the upstairs and the downstairs, that are designed to have space for medium-sized creatures to fit in. And so the front half of the house is like a 2-story house, and then the back half of the house is like a 4-story thing where they're both sort of split levels. Like where you walk in the front door and there's stairs going up and stairs going down. Mm-hmm. So the back half of the house is designed like that. So there's only...
A fractal split level house, oh god.
Small creatures who have friends who are medium-sized creatures are going to make the best use of their environment.
But, I'm still 6'7".
Oh,
probably
you are.
a little bit cramped in
So
most
wait,
indoor
You're
spaces.
6'7". How tall are you?
Oh, only around 6 foot.
Okay.
Um,
I'm 6 foot too. I'm
you're-
6 foot.
Even in the spaces that are built to accommodate to taller people, you are definitely pulling a Gandalf in Bag End.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, he doesn't have a lot of chandeliers for you to hit your head on.
Gotta do watch out for those roof beams, though.
Yes, you do find one of the roof beams. Whether it is with your forehead or almost with your forehead is up to you.
You are helmeted.
No, right now.
That's fair.
So he gets in and goes, I only have 3 chairs that'll comfortably fit y'all.
I'll stand.
I plop down on the ground.
I take the chair.
So, can I get y'all a drink or something?
I think I've had enough already.
Yeah, we were just at the bar, so we're good for now. I saw what you did earlier today coming in at lunch. Real smart.
Because I've lived here a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And all y'all can learn a thing or two if you're planning on staying around.
Always happy to learn a
It
thing
sucks
or two.
at night. And he's like, stepping, he's like, oh, crap. And he casts a firebolt cantrip at sort of half of a fire that's been almost pre-prepped in the fireplace. And it takes him 2 tries to light it, but he does light it up, and the room starts to fill with warmth after the absolute draft that you guys brought in with you.
That never gets less impressive.
What?
Magic.
Oh. I mean, I worked at the college for long enough. I had to pick up some of it.
How long have you been here, Jim?
Oh, I was born here.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if you had been a school implant or if you'd been here the whole time.
No. This house has been in the Waggle Badge family for generations.
Can you say that again, DM?
Waggle Badge.
Excellent.
Jim Bourne.
How long was that? Were you here when Karnax was still around?
5C.
Karnak? I don't think Karnax ever came to the,
What was it before?
What? No, I mean, it was always Karnax. But Karnax died like 200 years ago.
Oh, Karnax is a person. I assumed it was a...
Karaman
A
Karnax, the
spell
founder of the university.
Yeah, the university's centuries old.
I didn't
The
know.
founder, I mean, he was surprisingly long-lived for a human, but he died like 206 years ago? Far before my time. As far as nobody knows. I heard that they did find his body, but it was so badly mangled that they couldn't bury it when they had the funeral for him, which is why they buried an empty casket. Because his real body's buried somewhere else in the kingdom.
I thought the real body was buried somewhere else because they all had all those artifacts on them and they couldn't get them off. They didn't want anyone else trying to steal them.
Where's the fake burial?
What? I don't know. Somewhere in the country. So where do you think the body is again? With these artifacts on?
Well, that's the question. Nobody knows.
Exactly, and that is exactly what I heard too.
Can I insight
like
check
it.
him? I think he's bullshitting.
Yeah, go for it.
Come on, Bennett. That is a 5!
Boy, that has
7!
some heft to it.
This
I
is
forget
a
every time.
cast iron D20.
So,
Cast
Every
iron.
No,
it's
you're right,
a
it is a
forged
forged
steel. It's forged steel.
back to the game.
Oh.
You cannot tell. They both seem fairly frank about what they're doing, and if they are lying, they're doing it very well.
I only thought he was bullshitting.
No, both of them seem to be telling the truth as far as you can tell.
To be fair, even if you did know where it was, I mean, you've been here all of your life, and I mean, would that encourage you to leave?
I mean, if it had a bunch of artifacts on it, I would definitely think about going on. Yeah, I'd go on a vacation. I'd get myself some hirelings and be a right old adventurer, come back real wealthy, and be the Lord of Rhyme. But I don't know where it is, so that's not gonna happen.
I
You realize that if I knew where it was, I wouldn't tell you because of that, right?
You'd be one of the hirelings. Let's split it 50-40. 60-40. 50-50. I don't think the mics caught that last one, but he definitely whispered 70-30.
Uh-huh.
But, about the thing that Honey was asking about, that I actually don't know about because I forgot to ask you before we left the bar.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what it is I overheard, and then if you would be so kind as to fill in the details, I'd be much
Is
appreciative.
somebody
of it.
spreading rumors about me again?
It's more like
No.
you're spreading rumors about yourself.
They're not rumors if
They're
they're
not
true, Jim.
rumors about you. They're rumors about things
I
you
will
said.
bodily kick all of you out of my house if you were about to say that Sherry has been talking about me
No,
again.
no, it was not Sherry.
One time.
It was not Sherry.
It's not Sherry. Please don't kick us out. It's so cold outside.
I would kick you out. You say Sherry's saying shit about me.
She's not. Not that I heard.
Not that I heard either. So this is what I
It is
heard.
a damn lie. It did not happen.
So this was a cousin
Happens to everybody.
or a nephew or a relative of a cousin or a nephew. Wasn't quite certain. But they said that you had seen a light at the top of the mountain.
Oh, it's just
blinking
that.
red
Okay,
with
never
to
mind. We're good.
coincide with
Yeah,
the
it was
moon.
like that.
Could you say that again for me, please?
No, it was going like that. Okay, it was slower. It was like that, and then it would repeat every like couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I was.
When most I wink and do my eyes to see.
What in God's name?
It's a
I
type of poem.
I may have look. I'll be fully honest. I was on a little bit of crystal at the time.
Wait,
Crystal is not
the crystal.
gemborn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal is a known hallucinogen that is very, very dangerous for anybody who does not have a magical aptitude, but is fairly harmless for people who have magical aptitude. So, it is very illegal in
Non-magical circles.
in Veneria, and it's one of the things that, like, depending on if you are an arcane caster or not, it's like the difference between it's like a drug that if you are an arcane caster, it's like weed in severity, and if you drinking alcohol, and if you are not an arcane caster, it's like meth. So it is a very, very, very disallowed substance, and it is a strong hallucinogen. And
I've never met someone who's just so upfront about that. It's rather refreshing.
it's only a little bit. So I think that's why it was kaleidoscoping, but it was definitely blinking.
And whereabouts did you see it exactly, like precisely?
So I'm gonna have to open one of the curtains. He walks over. There's these very
You saw it when you were here in the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
There were these very heavy. I was on the porch because I wanted to watch the snowfall.
Pretty.
I had an excellent view of that earlier today, in fact.
I could tell you still got your hair is still a little
It's
frozen.
just like frozen in a
Yeah.
block, yeah.
But you don't smell like goat.
It was too cold to smell like anything.
That's fair.
So he walks over to the front of the house and kind of like pulls back these heavy curtains that are designed to just keep heat through the windows. And he kind of points, and so, as what happened in our world building game, there was a sort of a big ridge to the west side of town in these mountain ranges. It's a rather large mountain. And it, I want to say about half of it, you know, up to the top peak, collapsed and came down. And most people haven't really explored the mountain since then because it has been proven to not be the safest place. But he comes over and he points it out, and there's enough light in the sky that you guys can sort of see the silhouette of it. And so, you know, he kind of points it out, and so it started right there. And he points to, there's a very sharp spike at the top of the ridge, right where the break happened, and it kind of came down. So it was right aligned, right with that. And then I could swear that over the course of the next hour, the blinking moved out as if something was walking along where the ridge used to be, to the old point on the edge of the ridge. And then it sat there for about 10, 15 minutes. So every about 5 minutes, it would do the same rhythm. And it started for about 45 minutes to, to 3 hours at the one point. And then it would, over the next hour to 20 minutes, it kind of went up to the top. And then for like 6 hours to 10 minutes, it stayed at the top. And then...
At the old top?
At the old top,
So-
it isn't there anymore.
So it would have to have been flying if it were like a person.
Ooh. You think it's a person?
I have no idea. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a ghost person that walks in the night, mourning the death of the mountain. I'm going to write this down. He goes and pulls out a little sheet. That's a good story. Completely distracted. What was that you were saying?
I was just trying to make sure that there was no way that this thing was like, in theory, in a place where there were actual rocks for it to stand.
Nah, it was a ghost person that was
Alright.
walking the paths it used to walk in life, and even though the mountain is dead, the ghost of the mountain's still there, so the ghost person can walk on the mountain. I even saw its face. It was far away, but I saw its face.
Right.
Yep.
And how long was this figment?
I told you, it was anywhere from like 20 minutes long, the whole thing, to like 14 hours.
All right.
Can't have been 14 hours. Must have been 8 hours.
My favorite time description you gave was 6 hours to 10 minutes.
Did I say that?
You did.
That doesn't sound right.
And when did you see this?
Oh, the other day.
Was there anything particular about that day?
I had a little bit of crystal.
Anything particular about, the world outside of you?
The snow was really nice and kaleidoscopic. You could almost see the full flakes. They kind of like zoomed into your eyes when they hit you in the face. Cool.
Excellent. And
Right.
I know that time was probably not your strongest suit in the moment.
Nah, I never got up to
Crystal.
time magic.
But
Only learned a few cantrips and a
I
couple
think
of
that's
lower
probably
tier
for the
stuff.
best.
when in
Me
the
too.
night
Dangerous stuff.
was it earlier in the night, later in the night, or do you have no idea? 'Cause you
Yeah, it was
lost
any
out your
time.
mind.
It was almost full dark, so it was any time between the first hour and the last hour of night.
Excellent. It was at nighttime.
Yeah, it was the other day, like last week or this month, something like that.
Is there anything up there now?
Roll me a perception check.
Because he
Actually, I'm
has
gonna
the
look
thing
at that too.
open and...
And it is
It's
kind of
nighttime.
early evening.
Oh, that's not bad.
Well, no, you said the sun fell, so it's nighttime.
Oh yeah, no, it did.
It's early evening. It's like 8 o'clock at night, but it is full dark and has been full dark for like 2 hours.
We all just kind of
That's-
reflexively glance at the
9.
mountaintop.
9?
15.
22.
Dirty 20.
Nice.
No.
Yeah.
What did you roll?
15?
There's some stars. Some of them might be a little bit brighter than normal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no longer actively snowing?
The snow has sort of faded off. There are some thin wisps of clouds. It's still some flakes, but
There's enough wind that it's coming off the trees.
it's coming off the trees and stuff, and
That's why
it's
it's so
hard
cold.
to tell. There's a reason the tavern is called the Windbreak. It is well built, and it is solid.
And on Taco Tuesday, it's called the Breaking Wind.
That is not why our stream is named that. Yet.
Oh my god, Mercury!
Somebody's a wee bit punchy.
Mercury!
Well, it's a good thing they're playing a monk.
How come you got a shit I didn't?
Because I did it.
Be prepared
Yourself.
for many, many lovely jokes like this.
Sorry, Gwen.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
I'm a little sorry about that one.
Going back, Ashkar, you looking up, you realize that you get this information as well.
Mm-hmm.
Looking up, you realize that you can see some stars. There's still like clouds to the one side, but they're like the cloud break is you can see it off in the to the east, but it's not as cloudy, and you can see some stars, and some of the it takes you a minute to see it. Some of the stars look wrong. Some of the stars are in different positions, and there are little motes of light floating near where the point of the mountain. If you were just looking at it, you wouldn't necessarily be able to see it. The moon is still technically full. You guys could probably guess that the day he's talking about is a couple of days ago at the start of the full moon.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow night, it probably wouldn't be considered a full moon anymore.
Me.
Because you rolled above a 20, spot a distinct line of some of these lights that continues along the cliff's edge. It's not close to it, it's further out. And were you here when the cliff came down?
Yeah. I came in with the
So
group of
you
miners.
know where the silhouette was, and so you look further out along where the silhouette was, and there are a couple of lights that look like they could be in the correct spot for the silhouette.
Oh, that is fascinating. The most unreliable source actually might have something right here. Ghosts. Who knew?
Who said I was on? What the hell did I tell you about Sherry talking about me?
That was not Sherry, that was literally everyone else in the bar.
How?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
How many hours did you spend watching it? About 15 minutes, right?
Anywhere between 60 and 10 minutes.
Or 4 hours, or the rest of the night, or 3 days. I don't know.
That.
One of the 8.
That was 4.
Was it? Time magic. I'm getting another drink.
I thought
Y'all need anything?
I think we've found as much reliable information as we'd like to find.
I don't really want to
I would like
your
to-
stores.
I would
Nah,
like
it's
to.
fine. Anything for guests.
I would like to insight to see if I think that we've gotten everything out of him we're gonna get.
Sure, roll me an insight.
There's always
Well,
torture.
No, it could have been a 20.
That was
Instead,
not
That
in
kind of
character.
day.
instead, it's just a 14.
14, you're reasonably confident that he's not a great source of more information, although he seems willing to hang out and continue talking if you guys have more questions. But as said before, and as clearly obvious, the man does not have a sense of time and is fully willing to incorporate things that are said in passing into what the story was. So the more you talk to him, the less reliable anything he says is likely to be. And if you give any suggestions, he will take them. Whether or not they were meant to be.
Well, in that case, I reckon that this could be a full-on haunting, and I would suggest that, if people were to go up there exploring, that they might get themselves haunted or worse.
That's what I'm talking about.
Do
You
you,
know
see the lights? Is that up
The
there?
what?
The lights are up there now.
Of course they are. Wait, really?
This
Yeah.
is the
But
last
they
night
look
of
a
the
little,
full
they
moon.
look a little, now
We
you
have
mention it,
advantage
they
now
look a
that-
little bit.
Yeah, already, yeah.
Because they've been
I mean-
pointed out.
With it.
This is still a very high DC.
That's another nat 20 on my end. What was that? I was looking.
You see it.
No, but what?
Perception.
Perception.
You're looking for something.
24. Now that I'm looking at it.
19 on the die.
Did Ashkar?
Well, Ashkar already.
What did you roll?
Oh, I didn't roll again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys can all see, having had it pointed out, the distinct little edge line of the of lights, and you look at them for a little while longer, and you all kind of see them, and then, as if they were there and you blinked and they're not, you're not actually sure when they disappeared, but you stop seeing them.
I'll immediately look at any kind of time device I might have.
Do you have a time device of some sort?
I don't know. Maybe I have a pocket watch. I don't know.
Sure. Some sort of a
Chronometer?
yeah.
Yeah.
Chronometer?
That one.
It's 8:24.
8:24. Okay. Interesting.
It has just ticked to 8:24.
Okay, okay.
And you guys watch for a little bit longer, and you see in a sort of different spot along the ridge, a couple of them ping on, but they're not staying in one place. It's like every light that you see seems to have its own little luster, sort of its own little pulse or rhythm to it. They're not unique.
So it's
They're not identical.
Mm-hmm.
Exact opposite of what I meant.
Visually speaking, so I have it's like a set of Christmas lights, and it was sort of all lit up in a more solid way, and now there are just a couple of lights pinging on and off, or it seems to be there is this path, and lights are coming on and off along this path.
String of Christmas lights is a good analogy.
Mm-hmm.
It was never a strong
No, I don't
line.
think it was a solid light, but there was a bulk of lights on, and now there's...
No. There was a small patch on one end, and then a couple of random lights that were sort of blinking on and off in a strange pattern that you guys are not able to recognize.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a little bit, they kind of all went dim for a little bit, and then you realize, because it's such a long string of lights, that you missed that a different patch is lit up.
Okay.
It's the kind of thing where it's not like, oh, the lights are on. Oh, the lights are on. It's, oh, I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at that light in particular.
And
so
it goes
everything
out.
around
it fades out.
And everything else fades out, and when you start looking around, you can find the rest of the line, but you're not sure if it was on, like, you don't think it was on before, but it is now
It's on.
and you're not sure when it turned on.
Alright. Well, Jim, this has been most illuminating, pun intended.
That's a good one.
Is there anything we can do for you that does not involve us harming any individual?
I would never, ever ask anyone to harm anybody. Period. I'm not a violent person. How dare you? With any insult, I will require another growler tomorrow. You just pay at the bar. They'll put it on my tab and I'll pick it up.
That we can manage for you, I think.
He is. All of you can tell he is not offended in the slightest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we will get you that growler, and thanks for all of the very helpful information you have
It
given
is
us.
lovely to have company who appreciates good story.
When you finish up with writing down that ghost story, I would be interested to read it.
Sure.
Yeah. Once you finish adding all the embellishments.
None at all. 100% true. You actually noticed that the little notebook he pulled out and jotted down some of the stuff in was on a table, and there's a shelf just full of little journals that are almost identical, none of them labeled. Dozens of them.
Don't come at me like this.
No. No. I will make every single goddamn character lovable.
Terrible?
I can't speak.
You make them terrible?
I will.
I'll make every terrible
Just for that, your
lovager.
initiative tracker is upside down. Your initiative tractor. I said tracker.
I think my tractor's... I'm going to be the last person out of this house for a reason.
That's fine.
I just wanted to
As
say
soon as the
that.
door, as soon as you all start making your way to the door, he's like, all right, I want... Now, the rule for leaving the house is 1, 2, 3, 4, go.
Okay.
And y'all are gone, and the door shuts. I hate to see guests go, But I want y'all gone fast so it's not cold after you leave.
That's fair.
Lovely seeing y'all. Come by anytime. Preferably during the day when it's slightly less cold out and doesn't drop the temperature of the house, but I understand.
Fair.
Excellent.
To be fair, we were really bored in the tavern.
Yes.
There's not a lot going on.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your kindness. Have a pleasant evening,
I will. Thank you. Honey, was it?
honey.
I don't know what any of the rest of your names are. Have a nice night.
Toodles.
Were you staying to say anything?
Yeah. As he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, go. I'm the last out the door, and I just sort of duck my head back in and go. So what did Shirley say? And then pull back in anticipation of the door slamming on
The
me.
door. He's like,
The door stops.
no. The door slams, and he goes, "Who the hell is Shirley?" Now, if that absolute terrible person Sherry's talking shit about me.
Ashkar will lean down and say, not quietly enough. You should hear Sherry's story. There's a goat involved.
Isn't there always?
If they're half as ornery as the ones that I've dealt with today, it's a good story.
Do you mean ornery?
Ornery
But-
is a perfectly legitimate
Yeah.
way to say ornery.
Yeah.
Aarakocra. In any case,
That is a
what would you guys like to do?
head back to the bar because it's
Yeah.
absolutely freezing outside.
We're not going after the lights?
I am not equipped to go on a hike up a mountain tonight. No.
But you've already done so.
I'd hand you my outermost big jacket. I've got some like light jacket, and
Warmth is all well and good, but we are trekking up through
No.
4 to 5 feet of snow.
Light.
Light is great, but we are trekking up a mountain in 4 to 5 feet of snow. I am 5'4". We don't have any food. My fire starting kit is back at the tavern.
Oh sure. We can
Okay,
get
so you guys are heading back to the tavern. Is your guys' plan to get your stuff and then head up the mountain tonight?
That I could do, but we're not heading straight
No,
there.
that's
Oh,
fine.
no, of course not.
In the interest of expediting the game, out of character, you guys are heading back to the tavern, grabbing the stuff that you need to get to prep to go up the mountain,
Indeed.
and are heading up towards the mountain to go investigate.
I don't know about y'all, but I would love to go up there and look, and anybody who wants to join me is welcome.
I'm intrigued.
Seems fun.
Anything that's not continuing to lose at cards to the locals.
Or goats.
I'm done with the goats today.
Thought so.
All right, well then let's get our stuff and head on up there.
Just driving in and not make a joke about you losing any cards to goats.
They're devious little buggers.
All right. So first of all, I am going to need somebody to make a survival check.
I'm only
Really?
a +2.
Really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You guys all have the proper gear
Mm-hmm.
and the proper warm weather gear
Mm-hmm.
to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You have light.
Mm-hmm.
You have
A light cantrip.
a light cantrip.
Not that I need it, but
So you guys
Who
have that
doesn't
covered.
have dark vision?
okay.
If you fail any of the survival check DCs by a significant enough number, which will typically be 5 or more, I'm not going to say fatal because they would have to be a lot of fails in a row for very, very bad things to happen. But
Man, if we freeze to death in our first
it
episode.
will not be great for you guys.
I'm sure
So-
at least one of us will
We'll just do
survive.
another one.
Yes, you just
I can
won't
do
have
a
all your
survival
toes. So
I might just be the smallest, but I feel like I've already established that I'm the one who's thinking the most about how to survive this trek.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
So you guys definitely have the best modifier.
yeah, why don't you go ahead and roll a survival check for me?
Can I
That is
help
cocked.
and give advantage?
No, you guys already have advantage and disadvantage.
Oh.
Oh boy, that is a 9.
The gear you have is giving you advantage because you have the proper
Okay,
gear to deal with
okay.
this, but you are also at disadvantage because it is
So it's a flat roll.
really rough, and I
That's a
am
9.
okay. And I am correct in saying that none of you have particular experience in high mountain, extreme
yes,
cold
no.
weather conditions in winter.
Nope.
Fine. So we're going to do straight rolls, and there's no real way to get advantage or disadvantage on these because you're already at advantage because you have all of the right gear.
Yep.
But you are all also at disadvantage because it is rough out here. A
Yep.
9. So you guys start going. You start heading off into town, out of town. But I believe you guys got off on the wrong angle, and you started heading more south than you needed to. And so you entered a small patch of the woods leading up sort of the back part of the ridge and are having a bit of a rough go at it. It's going to take you a good couple hours to really start making it up the ridge. It's cold, it's tiring, it's slow going. Let's get another survival check. I want this from somebody else this time. And there's one other DM thing I want to say, which is that I'm assuming you guys have reasonable gear for going out, assuming that, hey, there's a chance we're not getting back tonight. Correct?
Yeah.
Sounds good. You all know what reasonable gear is for that.
The snow
You
is
have
deep
it.
enough. We have tarps. I
I will
personally
try
know a
rolling
lot
survival.
about deep snow survival.
You guys all have shovels. You guys all have been one of the more enterprising leaders of the town has made sure that when the big snows hit with all of the new people in here, they made all of you go to the
We all had to take a webinar.
you all had to take a webinar in person at the thing.
You just had to
You
learn about tolerance.
Thistle, I'm flipping you back over because it's bothering me. But Thistle, I'm assuming you're the kind of person who would go, "Oh, this is really interesting. Can you teach me more?" And one of the
Don't make assumptions about my character.
am I correct?
Don't tell me what. Finish your statement.
And would have done a little bit more, and gotten a little bit more instruction than just the basics that everybody went over for if you got lost.
You are thinking of Blythe, who's my wizard character, who's very.
No.
I feel like I have a pretty good handle on survival, generally
Okay.
speaking, and I would want to know how to survive, but I wouldn't be like, I want to learn more. I'd just be like, yeah.
No, I was specifically saying that because you said you've been going out and doing stuff with the goats, and so you've been traveling more outside of town in the heavy snow conditions.
That's fair. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on survival, so I
Fine.
don't think Thistle would be seeking out, like, additional...
I mean more of how to specifically build the snow shelters properly. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
Honey, this is a case
Yep. Then never mind. Scratch that.
rivers flow correct ways. This is a moment like that.
Sure. Who wants to give me the second survival check?
We'll do it.
Go for it.
Wow, that's a 9.
Hey! 2 in a row!
Nice.
Well,
I don't know if we should really be congratulating us.
the good news is
TPK.
it's really, really easy to just keep going uphill. The bad news is that you guys have kind of gotten a bit lost. And your sense of direction now is, well, I mean, uphill is the correct way to go, and we're not sure where to go to find the easiest path. So we're just going up. Y'all are getting a little bit tired at this point. Let's have somebody else make
I
another
would like to.
survival check for me.
Please be a higher than a... Oh my god, it's a 9! But
Nice, then.
I have +2, so that's an 11.
That die sounds very heavy.
It is. If you might want to feel it.
That has got some weight to it, my friend.
It is cold. It is bitterly cold as you guys are going. You're on hour 4 of this climb. It's approaching midnight. I'm going to need everybody to roll me a
Constitution.
con save, if you would.
I haven't used this die yet. Let's see how bad I messed this up.
Ooh.
Wow, this die does not like Thistle. That's gonna be a 5.
That's a 4.
That is thoroughly cocked.
I thought that this set of die would like
Con?
Thistle because of the purple, but that
Who,
does
who got above a 13?
You.
I got a 12.
not. Oh,
So,
So TPK
No.
He's going away.
You guys either have a choice. You can build a small shelter in a fire and take a short rest. Or the three of you can take a point of exhaustion.
Yeah.
It is around a little after 12 o'clock at night.
Do we still see the lights?
Do we even
Not
see the
from
ridge?
the forest,
Do we have
yeah.
any idea where
not,
we're?
not from the trees.
Okay, cool.
I am down to build a shelter. It will be easier to do in the trees, and honestly, once we break tree cover, it's going to be much more difficult.
This is the kind of thing where you don't need something over you. You just need to get a little bit of pit and then like something, and then have a small fire and just heat up and sit down for a little bit because you guys are tired. You think you're about 3/4 to halfway up what's left of this cliff, but you, in all honesty, have no idea where you are right now. You've lost sight of the village. You know that you're still going up, and that if you keep going up, you'll be able to find where you are again at some point. But this is starting to seem like a very, very bad idea.
Somebody remind me, short rest is how long?
An hour.
Thank you. I am down for a short.
Yeah, let's do a short
I
rest.
think this was like so. We might want to regroup for just a minute.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So you guys.
You want me to roll a shelter?
No. It is easy enough for you guys to throw up a small tarp and a shelter. Does anybody have a magical way of making fire?
Nope.
No.
Really? Nobody has produced flame?
Cool.
I have an alchemist's kit, which I think has some fire starting
I
items.
do have
roll
a flask
me-
of alchemist fire, but we are not using
Roll me,
it.
No.
roll me a survival check. With your alchemist's kit,
I have a tinderbox.
Same.
flat survival check.
Flat
Not
survival
a
check.
super hard DC.
Wow, that's a 6 on the dice, so that's a 10 total.
Exactly what you needed.
Great, because this has been garbage.
Roll on a different surface.
No,
Okay.
because otherwise it's going to be very loud. I'll roll on here, see if that helps.
You guys get a fire.
Everybody
You
else
guys
is
are
good.
able to warm up. You guys are able to take a break, but it is late. It is tiring. This was a choice. You guys definitely did see something up here though, but y'all are maybe boredom wasn't so bad.
So, perhaps this is the foolish thing to do, but does not make
I think we're
sense.
past that.
Well, I mean, yes, but on a scale here. Does it not make sense to walk towards the village until we can see sort of the face of the mountain that sheared off, and then walk towards the edge of where it sheared, and then you just have to walk up a straight line to where you're going?
You do want to avoid just the sheer
mean,
part. but
sure,
yes.
you-
Yes.
Like 50 feet to the side, of course, you know. Don't want to step on anything unstable or anything like that. But at least you then have a visual reference guide of going exactly where we want to go.
How confident are you of where the village is at this point?
Well, the moon is over there.
You can't see the
and-
moon, you're in trees.
If somebody could pick me up and put me on top of the snow, I might have better bearings.
You guys are really lost.
Okay.
The multiple failures by a few points in a row, nothing significantly bad happened, but
Well.
you are lost and you have one sense of direction. Do
Let's
you
see if
wanna
I know where the moon is and can figure out which
I
direction
would
is which.
roll
also-
a survival?
I would like to roll a survival almost to contest his,
Go
if
for
that
it.
makes sense.
Wait.
That is a 12.
That is a 20. Unnatural.
I'm being an idiot. I pull out my orb of direction.
I'm sorry. You're what?
What? Do you announce that this is an orb of direction as you pull it out, or do I just look at this
Or is
orb?
it just I'm
What does
being an
it
idiot?
look like?
I'm being an idiot. So it says orb, but I actually want it more like a dial.
Uh-huh.
It is a large metal piece with a slightly rounded back with a series of gears and a lever that has 3 settings. And on the front is a glass case with a series of notches, and one needle, which is red, is pointing steadily in one direction no matter how you turn it. And one needle, which is bright blue, is just sort of swinging idly back and forth until I turn the notch. And I'm going to turn it to finding the nearest potable water.
It just starts going. Woo, 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 woo.
Snow.
Guess what's potable?
I really didn't test this out.
That does make me feel better because if that had worked,
Well, the needle pointing north.
Oh, the needle
still tells
pointing
me
north
which way north
is pointing north.
I did get a 20 on my survival, so.
So, you were way closer, but you guys were so lost that both of you were like, it's that way. And you weren't opposite, but you were a good 90 degrees off, and you were a good 10 degrees off.
But we still don't know where town is because we don't have jack shit to go off of.
You do know that town is to the west of you, and if that is pointing north, then town is that way.
Okay.
You guys know where town is now. You don't know how far you've gone.
Can we get to the settlement to the south? That's
Southeast.
southeast, yeah.
Not
More like
really,
southeast.
because the settlement is sort of southeast, and you kind of going into the woods, and then are going up.
The woods
To
are
the-
south.
There are
The forest.
the forest is south.
Okay.
There are woods on the back of this mountain.
Okay. So
It is
we
not just a bare mountain.
So we just went straight east
So
and then
you went sort of
okay.
southeast to get to the base of the mountain,
Gotcha.
and then you've gone, or to like where it really starts ramping
And
up.
then we've done a
And then
sort of
you've gone-
woo.
Northish, up the mountain, and so if you'd gone straight north, you kind of would have been more to the side, but a large portion of this cliff has fallen in the past month, so you guys went into the woods some, because it's dark, and you were like, well, we're not going to just walk on the edge there, we're going to go into the woods some and walk along that, and then you guys got a bit turned around in the woods, and then you guys got a bit more turned around in the woods, and then you guys are going up, and you don't know, you know that you are on the side of the mountain. You do not know how far, so if this is the edge, and north is here, you guys know you've been going in generally this direction, but you do not know in how far you've gone in this direction.
Around the mountains.
So
I can't
here's-
believe I forgot my orb of direction.
That's hilarious.
I can, I'm so amused by it.
So here's my thought.
I forgot you added to it, sorry.
It is dark, it is cold, and it's not actively snowing, but it's not actively snowing, what with the tree cover. We know what north is, so we could travel west towards town. We also know that we are some way up this incline, and if we travel west, we're liable to slip on some dark ice and fall right over the cliff edge we're looking for. I propose we camp down for the night.
I do also. This thing will only once a day, but it will tell me where the nearest safe shelter is.
I am concerned that these lights are tied to the full moon, and tonight is the last full moon. Not that technically counts as the full moon.
That, plus in for copper and for gold, may as well.
That is the only
Copper and gold
reason.
isn't worth much if you're dead.
That is the only reason I would consider
Depends on
pushing
who you
through
put there.
in a normal circumstance where I didn't feel like we had a deadline. Yeah, sure, we should 100% stop here. But at this point,
10.
I'm concerned we're gonna miss whatever it is we're looking for if we don't look for it tonight.
Push on another hour.
Sure. Now that we have our bearings, I feel like maybe we've
Let's
got a
see
better...
if we can at least get going where we want to be going.
Let's keep primarily north and bend northwest. That way we can start making our way towards the ridge without just sort of...
Nah, I think you should go northeast.
Excuse me? I want to roll a perception?
Sure, you guys can
Wait,
roll perception.
What?
Hell yes! Finally!
Perception?
That is an 18.
Dirty 20.
15.
9.
The two of you. Just short. The two of you see a sort of deformed humanoid face. Sort of sticking out of the like just into the light, and it kind of gives a twisted grin. Why am I in this accent? This is not the correct accent. It sort of gives a twisted grin, and then darts back off into and steps back out of the light, and you catch a flash of fur and sort of a four-legged silhouette.
Did anyone see anything?
It is really cold out there.
Gonna stand up,
If you
equip my
wanna
shield,
warm up, we've got a fire.
and I have a bullseye lantern. I'm gonna light it and kind of shine a beam where it was.
I'm going to back off towards the base of a tree and take the hide action.
Roll a ranged attack for me real quick.
A ranged attack
Disadvantage.
with the.
With
Right,
silk
okay.
sponge.
Oh.
Well, that's a shame.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, that will be a straight 5.
And what was the high roll?
A 19.
Ooh.
Oh.
You weren't trying to be aggressive. You were just looking around with the lamp as well as it disadvantage. You catch a flash of sort of thick, matted fur as it...
Do I also catch?
No, because they're the one with the lamp.
Lantern, technically.
Right, but you kind of catch a glimpse of it as it ducks out of... it ducks behind a tree and goes, "No, that's not nice. Don't... You should be careful with what you wave around."
Why do you think we should go to the northeast?
No response.
And
Is
can
that
I
hide
have...
action?
Was that
Oh,
a
what was
no
your
to
roll?
warming yourself by the
Haven't.
fire?
And I also wanted to insight their reaction or
Okay.
their statement to see if they were referring to the light or not, to see if they recognize that.
Oh, yeah, roll an insight.
Nope! Not one.
Our first one!
You were the first 20 and the first one, and the
Hey!
second 20, I think.
Well, I
Yeah.
think I've rolled more than anyone else.
Yes.
So.
No. Yeah. Quiet.
Question, friend. We're out here because it is extremely boring in town. If you are out here by yourself, I can't imagine that it is any less boring. Do you know Crimbus?
Who said I'm by myself? And
Do
then
you-
and then you guys hear some footsteps running away into the darkness.
Alright, I've changed my mind. I think keeping moving would be a great idea.
Let's go.
Let's.
Who wants to roll a survival check?
Do I get advantage because of the orb of direction?
I will say that yes, you guys can have advantage now because of the orb of direction pushes
Go
it
for it.
over.
Alright. I just keep checking in with you as we go. Excellent! Finally, some good rolls. That is going to be a 19.
All right. What's your guys' priority in moving?
Stealth back of the group.
I'm going to say that as a group, you have to decide between speed and stealth.
Speed.
Speed.
Speed getting to clear ground. So out of the woods onto sort of the ridge of the mountain.
Sounds like I'm outvoted.
You can try to be stealthy. You are fully at disadvantage with it.
Sure, why not?
Because otherwise you are just getting left behind.
It's a 16.
Not bad.
Does that mean the rest of us need to...
No.
I'm a little behind the group.
The disadvantage was because you are trying to be sneaky at full speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are going and moving, and depending on your passive perception, those of you with a passive perception of 12, which is Honey and Ashkar, rarely you're catching sound. You're not getting sight of anything following you, but you guys are rarely catching auditory cues of things that are following you. Thistle and Televir, you guys are much more frequently catching sight. Not sight. You much more frequently are hearing things moving in the woods around you. It's still every couple of minutes you'll hear something snap, and it's that kind of sound where you're out in the woods and you're not sure how far away the sound is.
Mm-hmm.
Where normally, if you're just, sitting out in the woods at night and you hear a branch snap, and it's got that weird echoey feeling where it feels like it's a mountain wing, and it also feels like it's just outside of the bubble of light.
Mm-hmm.
And so you are not able to determine how close any of these sounds are, but you are hearing them occasionally. Something is, or some things are keeping pace with your group and are keeping track of your group.
Not generally on the same side. It's coming from...
No.
Okay.
I will say that you have not heard things coming from both sides at the same time. This continues on over the course of a half an hour.
I will say, since I'm
30.
rolling the survival and leading the group, nice, steady pace, no rushing, no getting freaked out and making a break for it.
Sounds good.
Yep.
So this has gone on for 20 minutes to 30 minutes.
Can I use my divine sense?
Yes. Let me ask this question first, and then...
I need
Because I want you guys to start thinking about the question, then I'll give you your response to that. I wanted to know if you guys wanted to continue pushing on after 20 to 30 minutes of this, or if there's something else that you guys want to do. You wanted to use your divine sense.
That's
Read me
gonna
off
help.
what divine sense does
I
against
need
specific.
Here.
Awesome.
It's marked to monk if that helps you find paladin.
I have the page numbers on the
dope.
thing. 'Cause
That's really smart.
I just write. Yeah, that's what I do. I have this thing, and the page number is here.
That's so smart.
I just made myself a printout.
Yeah.
Okay. The presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor, and powerful good brings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover. You know the type of any being you sense, but not identity. Yeah. So if they are celestial, fiend, or undead.
Thank you.
All right. Well, oh, sorry. What was the range on it?
60 feet.
60 feet. Okay.
And I will do it at a point where I think they're very close to me.
You'll do it when you hear a noise.
Yeah.
Nothing registers. You hear a noise, and it's one of the more close ones that you think. And you bring out your divine sense, and no, you don't. Nothing registers. You don't get that either that stench that would determine something foul, or the clarion call of something fair nearby.
Okay.
I would say you're reasonably confident that you don't think it's a fiend, an undead, or a celestial.
Okay, cool.
We said we were going to go for an hour, so you said about 20, 30
It's been
minutes.
about somewhere in the 20 to 30 minute range. You guys are pushing hard enough that I don't think you're
Does it
glancing at
seem like we're making progress in the correct direction to go towards where we think the lights are?
It seems like you are making progress in the correct direction now. You still are not 100% sure of your starting point, so you still don't know if an hour is going to get you there or not, but you feel like you're
I'm just
making...
trying to break tree
You
cover.
feel like you're making progress.
Do you want me to roll again then for the next half hour?
I'm not going to make you roll again for the next half hour, but I'm stopping it at somewhere in the 20 minutes to half hour range to see if you guys are doing anything, or if you're just going to try and
I
keep
think we
pushing.
just want to break the trees.
We want to
we
keep
just
going.
want to keep pushing forward.
I wanted to take a moment to find out if they were undead.
Yep.
There's things I can do, but
Yep.
if they're not undead, there's nothing I can do.
You do not think that they are undead. You're not 100% certain that you caught them in the radius, but you,
I might try it another time, too.
You are at the back of the pack, correct?
Only by about like 10 feet, but yeah.
Okay.
Being sneaky.
You guys go for another 10, 15 minutes. You guys are really pushing. Steady pace. But you guys are pushing a bit, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You hear...
What I mean is we're not panicking and breaking.
You're not panicking and running, but you are going hard. You hear is a completely different voice from last time, even if it sounds the same because I have limitations. The voice sounds a bit more haggard and I don't want to say feminine because it is not a feminine voice, but it does sound like a female voice. Now, why are you trying to leave the woods?
Don't reply.
Okay. You said you were at the front.
Yes, I'm at the front with
Yeah.
Ashkar because we're.
Who is second to furthest back?
They're
Probably
probably me.
you.
Okay. You hear. You are not able to pick up the words, but you hear something speak from behind the group.
Define sense again.
Nothing registers.
Cool.
That won't work on me.
And that one I did hear.
That one, all four of you hear.
What now?
Something I was trying.
Do you guys keep walking while you talk, or do you stop?
Keep walking while we talk.
Keep walking while we
Okay.
talk.
Thistle is going unless
Yep.
I say otherwise.
Sounds great.
And everybody can follow.
Or not.
In that case, tell me if you guys stop.
Okay.
What?
So we continue.
You did possess permission to enter. Although this isn't really mine yet. It will be soon enough. But we don't see people out this late often.
That does actually give Thistle a pause. Slows down a little, does not stop.
I'm gonna keep going.
No, go ahead. Oh, he goes, sorry, didn't know this place had ownership. I didn't even know it had a name or anything.
It doesn't yet.
What would you call it?
Mine.
That
I just
almost
realized I might
rhymes
be-
with the town.
I realized I might be talking a little too quietly for the microphone. It is a very quiet but traveling whisper,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to start talking more loudly, just in case.
Yeah. That almost rhymes with the town.
The town is irrelevant.
It's not. The town's called Rhyme. They really gouge the prices if you don't know that.
Irrelevant.
I'm gonna take the bullseye lantern and turn suddenly and swing the beam
Sure.
where I hear the voice.
Roll a ranged attack.
That's considerably better. That is a 16.
You get a glance of a what appears to be a large dog with a humanoid face.
Do not like.
It, as the light fully engulfs it, goes, and it pops out of existence, as far as you can tell.
I see that, and I like full effect. Like everything, I just go.
Is there anything we can roll to know what the hell that was?
Sure. Roll me an Arcana check.
Did we all see this?
Who?
God.
You did not, because you are at the front.
Uh-huh.
You two.
They're at the front with me. Because they have the thing.
I did
Sorry.
specifically say that I spelled
God.
That's fair. You alright?
Yeah, I'm just dropping all my shit
It's very
on
yeah.
other shit.
like your toes.
Huh? No, like your dungeon tiles. Sorry.
Consider that in play.
So, you know what? I'm gonna give you see it. I'm gonna give everybody else a perception check.
Just flat.
Just flat perception check.
So
that's
my
great.
Arcana check was a nat 1.
That's a 14.
Dirty
Likewise.
20.
14.
14 is actually good enough to see it. It was not expecting you all to stop after 40 minutes of pushing in one direction. So, all of you can make an Arcana check if you wish to know what this thing is.
Nope.
13.
That one.
4?
Was it 2 nat 1s, a 4, and a 13?
13.
Technically that was a 2, but
Arcana, yes.
I have a plus 2.
A 1.
So,
I have a plus 5, so didn't help.
No.
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 Yeah, I
Don't
didn't
know
think
what
so.
that is.
No, you don't know. Seeing it is actually a lot closer than you guys thought it might have been. You know for a fact
Now that it is not.
that it is not
It's
one
not.
of the three.
It's not a fiend. It's not undead. It's not a celestial.
Are we playing guessing games now? If you put the lights away, I would love to join you.
I'm gonna step into the middle of the group real quick. I think we're basically stopped at this point, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Very quickly, I'm gonna pull into my pack. I'm gonna grab an oil out of my alchemist's kit. I'm gonna soak one of my torch handles in it inside of the bag. Just pour a little bit out in it. Cap, clothes.
That's a strange smell.
Flint and steel wrapped around the handle, and I'm just gonna be carrying it as an offhand item. Intent is so way I can instantly
You
strike
uncork
and
the oil, right?
Yeah.
That's a strange smell. You two. The mouth isn't moving when it speaks. With the passive perception of a 14.
I would know that too because I rolled a dirty 20 for the perception.
That was a specific perception check for a specific thing. It's a
That
passive.
was that was a do you see it before it darts out of the light.
Fair.
It is actively trying to stay out of the beam of your light
Excellent.
and move around, although you guys have gotten a look at it now.
I mean, I'm full, like,
It's staying back.
fine.
And you know what? Actually, everybody would notice this. The light, it goes to where it should, but it seems like where light tends to fade slowly, it fades faster.
Okay.
It's a subtler effect than the stories of anybody who's gone into the forest to the south, but it feels similar.
Okay.
Lots of deep, long shadows on things that feel like a little bit wider, maybe a little bit longer than they should be. And looking up, you realize that you should have been able to, like, the tree cover isn't quite thick enough that there was no way to see the full moon. There should have been some light cutting through, even with snow on the trees. And it's not coming through. You had a question.
Yes. I would like to listen to hear if I can hear sound sliders. Like, I think there's more than one of them.
Yeah, roll me a perception check.
My little thing with
Ooh, not bad. That
soaking
is...
one of my torches in oil and getting ready to be able to basically instantly light it. Looks like that'll work.
Yes. I may have you roll a d20 when you pull it out to not light your pack on fire.
Sure.
One of the don't roll a 1 luck checks.
I mean,
You're
soaked bump.
You're confident
holding it,
enough that
pack
you're
is back
probably
on
fine. But just when you whip it out, it'll go off just fine. Just roll a d20 for me. If you roll a 1, tell me. If you don't worry about it.
21.
21. You think you hear 2 other footsteps triangulating past you since you... Did you guys stop or are you still moving?
We stopped.
Yeah, you think you hear two other...
Are any set of footsteps or voices within 20 feet of each other?
No voices, no footsteps. They appear to be triangulating you. Getting a little closer, but somewhat further out. Hard to tell distance with sounds in the woods at night like this. A little bit of a weird echoey feeling, but you are fairly confident that they are encircling.
Let's move.
Yep. Going.
I'm so disappointed.
And
What is this Crimbus you said?
I want to keep listening. I'm going to stow my bullseye lantern, and I want to keep listening to hear if I think they've moved closer together.
I'm going to keep asking questions. Because
Sure.
they asked about Crimbus, and I'm going to be like, I mean, do you guys have dice out here? And hopefully prompt them
Not-
to respond.
The one continues responding.
Okay.
Not
So we are
with
having
you.
an idle conversation.
You
which will
have to
hopefully-
come back to our home for us to get our dice.
I mean, I've got some, so...
You guys are able to keep moving forward. How do you have enough for this Crimbus game?
I mean, I guess the question is how many of you are there, because I've got enough for some, but not all.
That could be problematic. It wouldn't be fair, would it? Let's keep pushing forward.
Are they... Do I think I hear some of them within 20 feet of each other?
No, they're staying triangulated around you. You do think you are hearing them move forward to try and keep ahead of you, and they're spreading out a little bit on either side as you guys are pushing forward again. They're not
Which is-
pincering closed.
Yeah, okay.
They're just... So, the one behind you is continuing to talk, and the two in front were circling in like this to kind of, if you're here, they're kind of angling in like that. And then with the group starting to push forward again, they've pulled out so that they will not be in sight lines and are paralleling but staying just ahead.
Do we stop and face them?
You can hear everything we're saying, so.
Keep moving.
Can I try something?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. I'm going to take my bow staff, and I'm going to use it as sort of a, walking stick to help myself along.
Sure.
And as I do so, I'm going to use one of its effects to create birdsong. Specifically, I'm going to create a barn owl screech 60 feet behind us.
What do you have to do to activate the ability?
I don't have my phone on me because I specifically put it away to keep myself from being distracted, and I don't remember which book it's in.
How does Thistle
It has to be-
activate the specific ability? How do you envision it?
Oh,
Screw
okay,
what the book
that's very,
says.
very easy.
How does Thistle activate this ability?
Okay, Thistle, the staff is decorated with birds at one end and flowers at the other because it is a staff of the meadows. And Thistle basically has to point with the section that is appropriate
Okay.
to make it happen. They are carrying their staff with the bird side up, so as they're walking, the natural sort of rhythm, 60 feet ways.
All right. Is there a button or a keyword that you have to use, or is it an effort of will to make it happen?
It is an effort of will.
Excellent. Roll me a sleight of hand check with advantage.
All right. Where does my character sheet go? There it is. That is going to be 19.
It beats my 4 on the dice.
Yay!
I will.
First one of the evening.
First one of the
Little further.
Are you okay?
I think it did more damage to me than it did to it.
Band-Aid.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine.
And on that note,
A little further up. Not that far. Halfway
Okay.
between. There you go. Right there. Right there.
Alright.
are you okay?
I'm so short, I never thought that I'd hit the camera.
You never thought you'd
You
do
didn't
this thing.
expect a roller coaster.
In my defense, during the creation game, it was 1 in my line of sight and 2 here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And not-
sorry.
I'm the one who was
So-
constantly.
Oh god.
continuing the game, a
7
loud
19.
barn owl. Whoo!
Nope.
Okay.
The shriek of a barn owl.
I don't know what that sounds like.
Well, I can't do it. Look, you don't want me to try to make that sound because it's just a scream and it's fucking horrifying. It is like hearing
Yep.
somebody get their mother killed in front. Like it's bad.
So a loud scream comes out of the woods behind you, and you hear the footsteps all of a sudden stop, and you hear them, like, you can tell that they have jumped at this. None of the rest of you know that this was happening. You hear a loud scream or screech from behind you.
Sword.
With a perception of 21, do I notice that they were doing something sneaky?
It's an insight check, not a perception.
Insight, which is the same, actually.
You get a sense that something might have happened. Hard to tell. There were not any really obvious clues there.
Ashkar is just surprised.
Yep.
And wants to push the pace harder.
The dumb paladin. Someone might be in trouble.
Do it! Do it!
Do the thing.
I just pull my sword out and I'm like,
As I'm following the back of the group, I'm gonna stiff arm you in the back. It's like, nope, keep moving.
there
Now,
might be someone.
no,
No, there's not. Keep moving.
hold up. When you pull your sword out, oh, now that was a mistake. You shouldn't threaten the ruler of a place. And
As far as I can tell, you're not a ruler at all.
that is where we are going to leave this session off. When we come back in 2 weeks, we will be starting with initiative.
Alright.
Does anyone have an outro prepared? Because I forgot to think of one.
Nope.
No.
We hope this was a enjoyable first session. Hopefully you guys will find this something to come back to. Sorry it's every 2 weeks, but schedules are difficult.
Yep.
We're just doing this for fun. We have lives.
And,
Do we? Sometimes I'm not sure.
We have
So-
undeath.
That works.
until next, until next time, this was the first episode of It Was a Tuesday.
Oh, I feel bad because Mercury's not here, so Mercury's...
Do we want to wait for Mercury? Hey, Mercury!
Give him a minute.
We'll give him a minute.
Do we, hearing the fact that it sounds like it's going to be getting on, do we have a moment to react to that?
Depends on what the reaction is. Hey,
Okay.
we are outroing.
We're outroing.
We're
Excellent,
outroing.
excellent. I'm just in time then.
Well, almost.
Well, did you guys outro without me?
We did a bit of an outro. Do you want to continue the outro? We didn't do a good
We
outro.
can also
What?
restart, given that, this isn't live. And
You could just cut when I leave. What did I miss, first of all?
You missed the reaction to the screech,
Okay.
which was...
Yeah, please just replay it for me, please.
You missed the reaction to the screech, which was...
I rolled
rolling it...
21 insight,
Mhm.
trying to figure out if you were doing something sneaky.
Do you want... Well, you had me do a sleight of hand.
I said it was insight because there was no... The motion was fine. They all saw the motion because they're all seeing it. It was a... Was that motion just a difference in the move, or was that motion a thing? And that was an insight check.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
Nothing. I get used to your original roll.
Okay,
And I decided that was enough to
Okay.
think that might have been caused by you.
Okay.
That was a bit of a surprise, but no real reaction, and that was a... Someone's in danger! To which the voice replied, that was a mistake. You do not draw arms against the ruler of their domain. And, that's where we cut.
Man.
So,
So new rule, when somebody leaves, we hold until they come back.
Also, new rule,
okay,
don't
hold
jump
up,
for
stop.
joy.
We need to not talk about new rules while we're still on stream. This is the end of the episode,
Yeah.
our first episode. We will be back in 2 Tuesdays
On March 1st.
on March
March
1st.
1st, actually streaming.
Thank you all for watching. We will probably not fix that one in post. You'll just hear the outro twice.
Yeah, because I missed it, and I can't believe they tried to do this without me.
We are truly terrible people.
We are.
And
Anyway.
with that,
It's been a Tuesday.
cut it. Cut the feet. Cut it now. Cut it now.